Adoatv, bringing good things to life. Adoatv, bringing good things to life. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Good morning and thanks for joining us on today's news bulletin. This is the AM News coming to you live from our studios at the John Evans Mills High Street in Accra. We're also streaming live on Facebook at Adoatv Ghana, on YouTube at Adoatv GH, and around the world at adoanewsonline.com. My name is Jonathan Amanal. Coming up in this bulletin, Parliament adjourns due to lack of quorum to conduct business. In this bulletin, the National Road Safety Authority has launched the 2021 Road Safety Campaign dubbed Jai Obonsam Ejumanu, and then later in Business Finance Minister has stated that they are not going to the International Monetary Fund for bailout. We have the details of that and more right in the news bulletin. Do stay. For staying with us, remember this is your hub of comprehensive and compendious news update. My name is Jonathan. I'm an very first story. Parliament, as of yesterday, at 2:15 p.m. on Wednesday, November 11, 2021, was adjourned by the second Deputy Speaker, Andrews Amwako, who was presiding pursuant to the August House failure to form a quorum to aid conduct for the daily business at the plenary. Per the standing order of August House 1-3 of all members, both majority and minority are needed to form the quorum. However, even an hour suspension, the House could still not form the quorum.
The initial call was made by the Adaklu legislator, Honorable Gavin Zagbozo, who drew the Speaker's attention to its standing orders, which requires that the House forms the quorum. The second deputy speaker suspended the House for an hour to aid mobilized members despite a 10-minute ultimatum as requested by the member. Even after an hour, the one-third quorum could still not be achieved. The Adoatv legislator once again drew the attention of the House, saying,
"Since Parliament resumed, we've never had quorum at the start, most of the time. Yet we continue to work in cooperation. But today, Mr. Speaker, the world is looking at this chamber. Mr. Speaker, you've been diligent to the House. You are almost always here on time. And I say that the only reason we don't start at 10 o'clock is when members are not ready. You, Mr. Speaker, have always been around. Sometimes I see you sit here and not even have a health break till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And I pity that level of this.
However, the deputy majority leader gave some explanation as to why a huge number of the members are not in the chamber.
Look at quorum in context. A house which is a master of its rules and acts in the interest of the nation, where we know that members can be unavoidably absent in the chamber but will be carrying out parliamentary duty. This morning, for instance, the Committee of Defense and Interior members were at national security. Subsidiary legislation has been sitting. Finance has been having meetings. All I'm trying to say is that if we assume quorum to be suddenly arising, then we will be ambushing our own bona fides as members of parliament in this chamber. I am not saying as a matter of law you shouldn't raise it, but I would say that to the extent that there is nothing major for decision making, we cannot overly rely on it to obstruct our work.
Retaliating, Mahama Ayariga lamented that committee meetings should not be the reasons for which members will not attend to the House.
When we resume from sitting, the majority side should have worked hard to ensure that we have the proper numbers in the chambers. Mr. Speaker, during the suspension, they rang the bell continuously for 1 hour. 1 hour, and still ringing, Mr. Speaker. And we have not yet been able to mobilize 1/3 of the numbers. Mr. Speaker, there's argument about committee sittings. We don't know about any committee sittings. And even if there's a committee sitting and it is in this building, ringing the bell is an indication to the members of the committee that they are needed in the chamber. And therefore, they should have hastened to the chamber to be counted so that we can have a quorum to continue transacting business.
Coming under Article 41A of the August House Standing Orders, Samuel Okudzoto Ablakwa moved for the House to be adjourned.
We all know what is right. And the lesson from today, which must be going into tomorrow and subsequently, is to ensure, or must lead to ensuring, that honorable colleagues come to the House punctually and to conduct business. Based on that, Mr. Speaker, I rise under the authority given to members of Parliament under Order 41(1)(a) of our standing orders, which is express that at any time prior to 3 minutes before the stated time for concluding a sitting, a member may move for the adjournment of the House. Based on Order 41(1)(a), I respectfully ask, Mr. Speaker, that proceedings be adjourned to tomorrow.
The deputy majority leader subsequently noted that leadership meetings at conclaves have also decided that the House be adjourned looking at the time. Accordingly, the second deputy speaker adjourned the House till tomorrow Thursday 10 a.m. in the forenoon.
We cannot suspend the House again. It's past 2. So I'll go ahead to adjourn the House to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Honorable members, I think this House is embarrassed. The cameras are on us. We deliberately suspended the House for 1 hour just to make sure you get the numbers. Yet, we couldn't make out the numbers. I've counted and counted and counted and counted. We still have not made the numbers. Please, let's advise ourselves.
That was what happened in Parliament as of yesterday, as Parliament has been adjourned. Now, away from Parliament, the National Road Safety Authority, under the auspices of the Ministry of Education, has launched this year's road safety campaign. This year's campaign has been dubbed Stay Alive, with the hashtag Jai Obunsami Jumano. The event was held at the forecourt of the State House here in Accra. The next report, filed by Emmanuel Wilson, has the remaining story.
The National Road Safety Authority, under the auspices of the Ministry of Transport, on Wednesday, 10 November 2021, launched this year's road safety campaign dubbed Stay Alive, with the hashtag Jai Obunsami Jumano, which translates in English as Stop Doing the Devil's Work. This year's campaign, like previous years, is geared towards decreasing carnages on our roads. Opening this year's launch, Chairman of the occasion, Mr. Jermaine Nkrumah, echoed that road safety is a collaborative effort. Hence, all hands must be on deck if we want to cut down on road accidents.
I am delighted to have the singular honor to be the chairperson of this function. And today's launch is only but the beginning of well thought out comprehensive programs and strategies to reduce what we now call the CIDs on our roads. To most of you, CID is Criminal Investigation Department. To us, CID represents crashes, injuries, and deaths on our roads. We actually launched a nationwide road safety campaign to drive a new strategy to reduce the carnage on our roads. I have no doubt in my mind that working together in a collaborative manner, we shall overcome. In fact, the presence of Honorable Kweku Ofori-Siama personally at this function is a clear demonstration of his commitment to road safety.
Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, Engineer Mrs. May Obriyeboa, speaking at the launch, added that an estimated 12,800 people have been killed and injured just in 2021. Hence, the need for all stakeholders to take road safety seriously.
Just between January and October this year, over 2,300 and 12,800 people have been killed and injured, respectively, on our roads. More regrettably so, about 1.6% of our GDP, translating to over $160 million, is lost annually to road traffic crashes. In real terms, this can construct about 110 kilometers of asphalt roads in a year. The National Road Safety Authority is fully aware of this present danger and what it means for our economic and social development. We have led the campaign for safer roads long enough to know that half-hearted measures and cosmetic response from both stakeholders and individuals yield little, if any, dividend at all. If we are to ever make progress or achieve the goal of crash-free roads, then we must start believing the power of human agency. We need to start believing that the actions we take and the decisions we make on the road have implications. The Stay Alive campaign we are launching today is born out of this belief. It is a campaign anchored on our individual and collective obligations to be more conscious, more involved, and more responsible.
Delivering the keynote address, guest speaker Honorable Kweku Ofori-Siama, who is also the Minister in charge of Transport, also called on the general public to make road safety a responsibility and stop blaming the devil.
It gives me much pleasure to be with you this morning on this occasion for official launch of a nationwide road safety campaign entitled Stay Alive. On the 15th of April 2021, His Excellency the President expanded the Interministerial Committee, now bringing the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, to take a critical look with the task to recommend concrete measures to reduce road traffic crashes in the country. The original membership of the committee was three: that's transport, roads and highways, and interior. I am happy to report that the committee, after assessing road safety issues, made some recommendations for implementation in the short, medium, and long-term period. Highlight of these interventions are as follows: 1. To scale up the implementation of nationwide road safety campaign. 2. Enforcement of regulation on toll drivers for long distance journeys, mandatory rest period for drivers, and pre-departure checks at transport terminals. And 3. Installation of speed limiters in certain vehicles. 4. Mandatory refresher training for commercial vehicle drivers. 5. Provision of road signs, road light markings, street lights, and crash barriers on major highways. 6. Increase highway patrol to intensify routine road checks and reactivation of the war against road indiscipline. And 7. Automation of traffic enforcement to electronically detect, apprehend, and issue fines to traffic law violators. Our objective of Stay Alive Road Safety Campaign is to call on Ghanaians to be road safety advocates. The call includes debunking the notion that incidents of road traffic crashes are as a result of the devil. Rather, we must take full responsibility and the consequences of our actions and inactions. We are all being called upon today to speak up against bad habits such as a driver found engaging in excessive speeding.
Jai Obunsam Ejman, which translates "Stop the Satanic Act." These are sayings from the Ghana Road Safety Authority that we have to drive safely in order to stay alive. Now, away from that, let's move to the northern region, where Ghana's Defense Minister, Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, has led a high-powered delegation to the Gbewa Palace in Yendi over some voice recordings circulating on social media, allegedly revealing how the Kokomba ethnic group are preparing to lay a siege on the Dagbon Kingdom and also seize some territories in the eastern corridors for further create the Kokomba kingdom for themselves. Over the last month, the voice recording became the talk of the town in the northern region, with some individuals also believed to be Dagombas sending a strong warning to the Kokomba group to not to commence what they have not started yet.
Over the last few weeks, some voice recordings have become talk of town in the northern region. The said tapes are of the conspiracy to seize power in some parts of the north by the Kokomba ethnic group, with some individuals also believed to be Dagombas sending a strong warning to the Kokomba group not to comment what they cannot finish. This has led to the defense minister, together with some northern regional MPs, both from the majority and minority caucus, with joint security personnel to the Gbewa's palace to reassure the king of Dagbon, Yana Abubakar II, of their commitment to peace in the region and beyond. Speaking at the gathering, Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, Defense Minister, expressed his disapproval at how some young people use unprintable words on social media, which has the tendency of threatening the peace and security of Dagbon and can cause chieftaincy conflict. The minister, who doubles as the Member of Parliament for Bimbela constituency, said it is unfortunate that individuals hide under the cover of darkness to create unnecessary tension among the citizenry.
Some unguided, unscrupulous, misguided, and cultured young men decided that we'll go on Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp to report. I have over 30 or such recordings to say that they will create confusion between Congo Belts, Nanu Belts, and Togo Belts in the 21st century? Originally, we thought as government that this is just on Facebook thing. But today, as we progress over the 2 or 3 days, we realize that this was more serious than we thought. And I'm happy that Overlord himself has accepted to that.
He assured the king that there would not be any conflict either in Dagbon or Nungu, and that the police, through the Inspector General of Police (IGP), have been empowered to identify these individuals and bring them to book. He charged the various MMDCEs in the region to begin stakeholder engagement with the youth to make them understand nothing of the sort will happen.
I want to state that the both Congo Nanumbers and the women do not want any war, and there will never be any war here. There will never be any conflict in the northern region, I can assure you, my lord. That is the reason why we are here. We will go after those warmongers, wherever they are, and fish them out. The government has given the IGP the order to fish out all those who are mongering the war and the conflict. And wondering and going on social media, on Facebook or wherever they find themselves, and arrest all of them one by one and prosecute them. Of course, the IG is deploying enough security here to make sure that the fishing them out. We want you to help us identify them. You live with them. Identify all those who are sitting cowardly in their rooms and making tapes and say that there will be conflict, help us to arrest them. Henceforth, anybody who goes to post anything on Facebook, the police will go after you and arrest you. Henceforth, anybody who goes on radio to discuss anything and wonder war and cause fear and panic, the police are empowered to arrest that person.
Honorable James Agaga, Member of Parliament for Bolsa North, underscored the need to maintain peace in the region, stating that those circulating the voices are the people who hate Dagbon and the North at large.
In matters of peace, we are one. There is no distinction between NDC, MPP. The peace and unity of Dagbon and the entire northern region and the North is of paramount importance to all of us. Without peace, we cannot have development. And I'm happy that in His Royal Majesty's speech, he clearly identified peace as a necessary tool. I mean, that is, if you are to have development, the two are like two. We have accompanied the Defense Minister to under 414 that we have become privy to some information that is making round on social media such as Facebook or WhatsApp about an imminent war between the movement and the movement. So we have accompanied the Honorable Minister for Defense to assure His Royal Majesty and his elders in chief that we are united in our quest to work to ensure that there is everlasting peace and unity between the two ethnic groups of the North.
Was Ghana's Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwo going all tactical in his moves to curb any actions of bold steps in order to curb any tribal war that is trying to inflict in our system. Now, away from that, let's do some business related stories. The Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has rejected reports that government is seeking to return in the International Monetary Fund for program support and bailout. The minister lamented that there is absolutely nothing on the table. This was after a meeting with visiting African Development Bank officials.
There has been reports that government is in the process of going to the International Monetary Fund for some program support to address the current pressures on revenue, rising debt stock, and the troubling budget deficit. Some financial experts and international research firms believe that the recent decision of some offshore investors to get into Ghana's bond is due to the concerns about the fiscal outlook, which may put further pressure on government finances. They claim this development may force the government to turn to the IMF for support to bring about the needed stability and what some describes as policy credibility. Finance Minister on the alternative to deal with the current fiscal situation. The Finance Minister also noted that government is seeking to issue Eurobond in 2022 to deal with the financing gap. He added that it is an option being considered by government together with its incentives. The minister noted that government is also committed in putting in place measures to improve revenue mobilization while addressing budget overruns going into the next year. Ghana in 2015 turned to the International Monetary Fund for some policy support program that came with some $918 million United States dollars for the country. Some market watchers have argued that the 2022 budget presentation may hold the key in helping to bring back investor interest in Ghana's bond after the recent exit due to the concerns about Ghana's fiscal situation.
More business-related stories ahead of the presentation of the 2022 budget. The director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Quartey, is calling for the scrapping of some nuisance taxes introduced in the previous budget. Professor Peter Quartey believes some of the taxes introduced did not live up to expectations with respect to revenue stabilization and mobilization and should be scrapped. He further advised that if the new taxes are to be introduced, they must be substituted with the unproductive ones earlier introduced.
Ahead of the presentation of the 2022 budget, the Director of Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Quartey, is calling for the scrapping of some nuisance taxes introduced in the previous budget. Professor Peter Quartey believes some of the taxes introduced did not live up to expectation with respect to revenue mobilization and should be scrapped off. He further advised that if new taxes are being introduced, they must be substituted with the unproductive ones earlier introduced. Professor Peter Quartey was speaking on the sidelines on the launch of the State of the Ghanaian Economy Report 2020 and the review of the 2021 third quarter economic performance. Some new taxes were introduced in the 2021 fiscal year, while some already existing ones were adjusted upwards as part of plans towards economic recovery of the country. The government, as part of its efforts to revive the economy, introduced the COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy Act 2021, the Financial Sector Recovery Levy Act 2021, among others.
More business news. Do well to log on to our website on adoanewsonline.com/business. Now to some happenings in the world of sport. Mr. Malko Afadinu, head of communications marketing of Stanbic Bank and the president of Ghana Table Tennis Association, has officially confirmed that Ghana's Table Tennis Association will organize 2 different table tennis competitions in December. According to the president of the GTTA, the 2 competitions, Athramani Memorial Cup, would be held in honor of Athramani and the Grand Champion in December.
Okay. Because we have possibly the National Unity Games. After that, we'll have the Commonwealth Preparatory Games in India. After that, the Commonwealth Games itself.
Okay.
Between there, we are saying it here for the first time, we could be given the opportunity to host the World Youth Championship. Championship in July. And so next year
it's going to be very busy.
What's important is for us to be able to put together the right resources, because at the end of the day, we need to have the means to be able to deliver.
Definitely.
Give the players opportunity to perform And the other thing we hope is that we'll also be able to get a space to give our players even more exposure. You got it so right. So what the league does is to increase their fitness, activity, and competitive levels.
Yeah.
And because they are playing day in, day out, they are able to function at a very high performance level that you need to be able to do well when you go out of this country. And what's important for us is also to ensure that we synchronize activities properly. Adequate spacing between activities. Because the league is good, it's good for training, it's good for you being up to your highest performance levels. But in addition, as you mentioned again very correctly, there must be space for the national team players, those who are selected, to have the opportunity to prepare and to train. And the league will be part of the selection process, yes. What it is that we also are introducing a ranking process.
Okay.
That would ensure that at every point in time, as you play a game, you earn points that goes into
enhancing your
Thanks for staying with us. This is how far would come to you with Thursday's edition of the AM News, coming to you live from our studios at the John Evans Fifia Mills High Street in Accra. For more news, do well to log on to our website on adoatv.online.com. Until then, my name is Jonathan. Have a wonderful morning and enjoy the rest of our programs.
Suzy Ebafo ye ne CB men, CB women, CB malakyo, ena ye de CB soap nso aba. Na moment neno ye bepese, ye be kasa fa CB soap no, kwan ye faso e de yusu CB soap no. Eni hia ehun hia se onipe bi a wo Ghana ha ana asase so utumi yusu CB soap no be. CB soap ye de ye pedicure eni manicure. Pedicure ye brea wa apply CB soap ewo unase eno 19. Na watnasi for some minutes na wahoro ne nyina awurere no eye unase de no na pedicure no e na afen nso se ode ye unsem na no so hohoro na awurere no na e manicure kwa ye faso e de use CB soap na nkasa na me ba be kire no de we binumu ho wonsem no ayedin ama sabio ne nsa no kura ya akoakoa ebinum nsam tumi ye dendenden ma ne nsanum ni nyina paapai enu nti na Suzy Ebafo yakofa CB eba soap edi abase wo sa haw ni nyina bia ka wakoma to yam ukoto CB soap no bia oba udi nsuo di kan fa wonsem na fede weti soap no bia obema na dos wonsem nsa tinkan odi be fa wonsa yam ni nyina ne wonsa ntam ni nyina uye ne sa wi obetena se 10 to 15 minutes no wa hohoro ni nyina the moment a di soap no be fa onsem a obehohoro no na soap na hoɔden ekita no na ne onsem eye dead cells ni nyina nti me say men ko use blade because blade ha wan hwe na akwa nti use small knife and say scissors. So buy scissors no mumienu se ya na odi awrawra onsem fini nyina se wo ye ba ko wie na se na onsem no aye no eya no wagyae enye ma wo betumi asan apply second soap no so bi na no so watena se for sa bre no ohohoro ana wasan awrawra obonso onsem be ye moton kama na ono yire ana o partner bi hia watumi de onsa fa ne honam no so ana ye kɔ biai bi na se ye chia wo so watumi atie bi se bia o 19 ana se opese odi CB soap no eye pedicure ewo onase a ebia o 19 enye din o 19 empaipa ya ubedi kan di nsu afa o 19 no onase no na weti CB soap no bi na odi asra o 19 no onase ni nyina se odi sra o 19 no onase ni nyina wie na opese odi si nsu mu a kwan wo ho nemu ubetwen be 55 to 10 minutes time ansana odi esinsumu ni enti etisa ne se odi sra 19 no sisia na odi sunsumu eba horo ne nyina edubre na owurawura abon se enye adwuma bi amfa ma wo Enti sa opese odi si nsuo mu after 10 minutes no na wasan de si nsuo no to the si nsuo no so for 10 minutes and after the ohoro a na wa rere ebeyi dead cells ni nyina ebeyi fi na wo nenti ni nyina na bibia aye fine
sibi eba so uni say hwura na hwe bemampo hwe se you use sibi eba so the tree now the nase nenti hwe se na wa tron afa sibi eba so it works like magic we now we correct ma ho fele why be me we ko tiatia ni mem slippers mo ti ni perfect nase sibi eba so perfect and you think I recommend myself. So person now we come out. We 19 papa there. Always need use sibi soap. Eba, and you put her. Wash. Abba.
Nia to subium ebia o 19 no aye dedendenti na oye bra o de asra wie na wa twen ahohoro a rere ni nyina awie no na fe de wet soap no kakra e de ato raba no so na o de atwi o 19 no ebia o ni scrubber bia wo ho o ni abo bia wo ho no mo a wo betimi ati soap no kakra de ato rough cement ana abo bia so ye rough so na o do 19 na twitwi so o ye ne sa every week bia ye no mpamio na o 19 ni nyina be fefefe na ye mre ye nsam ni ye 19 ni na se no ye cells a etumi nyin ndi se o 19 na ana se o na se na ye cells na etumi nyin no se enyiya na cells no wu na uhyam paboa na heat ne kana eno do ye hwan ebe yi sent so your ban na ukru was a problem no bi u your bema na wa was a problem no bi abomodin asa obenya sibi soap no bi ukoto bi ba fa nso di kan fa o 19 no na ase na fa soap no bi srasra o 19 no na ase ne nyina na twen be 10 to 15 minutes hohoro ne nyina na fe di pe small knife na scissors fa rere sa dead cells na wo 19 no na ase ne nyina utumi yesa wi a odo pampaboa no hye no 1 month na yi o 90 cent bia wom Suzy Heba for your drink and for whom pa ye 19 year bia ye nin sheda nko ho nemum sika wo tumi de titompa sika obetumi atiska kese de akoto wo dem nkonwa no utie konwa no ma empempi no tumi sisa onan edi sisi nkonwa no ebinum 19 tumi ye rough ama papa ya ma omutumi de tete bedsheet timi srew bomodia na abrenia brebia be use sibi soap no bi edi aye pedicure ni manicure anasa odi be yi u 19 ni unasi fin eni unsemu fin na aboa na bibie tumi aye kama sibi soap no onipa dase ni bia wa asase so bia no betumi use ena afen so se uyo bia wa propro ye foot rot na obedi kan pe cotton o te cotton na kakra o de cotton no be bonsuo na we bie soap no so o de fafa ni boko ehuro bi beba cotton no fafa unan ni ntem no o de femu a 10 minutes per hohoro anase kona kodware nti me advice is abreni abrebia no so foot rot na be use sibi soap na use no bra why ready anopa e bia opese wo kwakodware uye no anopa ne anwumre a wo foot rot ni nyina ebeko eye mmoa na ewom e no mu didi unan ni ntem no apropro no enye ye nantem kwa na yewu apropro tumi ye nsa ntem nyina ye won krofo bi wo Ghana ha adwuma omo ye enu nti abribia na ne nsa da nsuo mu nti no omutumi nya insantem apropro no bi sa wo so wo sa ha wo no bi amesrew unya cotton eni sibi soap no bi a ti cotton ne kakra fa bo nsuo sa wo di bo nsuo no wi a fa soap ne ni boko ro na beba cotton no no fa unsa ne ntem no mame eno so 10 minutes no wa hohoro uta ye na nopa eni anwumre bia so ha no nyina no ebe feel so na wade ho na bibia tumi aye fine
sibi eba soup amanfo agiato eye samra ye di hwe ye na ho edi na ho na me ni atronchiro akrobato mu na mama ya akrobato etia bibia me kanfo ade papa na de mama mi anka se ma yusubi ma hu se ma yusubi enipa me na mo di sibi eba soup mo das edoso obi asem o kan bia ya sem papa e hyen kran se akrobato samna mo di bedwa so no si before di bedwa eye samna papa se wo nanti wo nase wo di basasro wo yi ho nyira kakaka bo so wo na wa se akola foforo no adansi di na media mago Mintimi ni a nipa bi anim entwa de bone ma because of my credibility. I'll never lie to you. Me peme man for asem na me do me man na me die menya no so me nye ready say me say no anasem de nkika bi be kaka ho ne say sibi heba soap nko dia me gina dia that say eye papa tobi na be hu say disitie sibi ana Ghana ma any member yet don't want it. We always thank you very much.
Yeah, the herbs and the yes sibi heba soap. Ya wondro no bebre wo hodoma ye de pedicure ne manicure use so abra wo use ne mo no na eno mo e ma o nenti na ye den by CB soap ntisa mo na use CB soap no na e ma o nenti no e ye mbre fine any side effect bia
CB soap no metompa obi wo ha ono no o mane dia o be use shampoo we o hunu so na no no wo de man na wo say no an say o de aye nipa ne nan na wo atwia na aye fine wo bia na wo say o de wo foot bibi a massage no wo ye bi a massage na asa nti no no ye easier e mom na ye adwuma so fine me pa cho wo what CB soap na wo so hwe no bo modi ana kope ba ko wo kun fi adwuma ba wo de mountain o afa ye de na fa no bon komo wo bia twitwuma no na wo be hu say na wo ko na be
Me mitimi fa me pe enkanfo bibi mawo mitimi fa me pe ema wo nyi bibi ni preko pesa na Ghana ye nyina dan abi ansan me kam bi no e fa dro ana bibi ni pa yusu di kono video na ni pa bia bia na abiefo agiato me akrobato aka who knows tomorrow me catch them say CB heba soup no abiefo agiato they have proved that it's good for human being to use.
CB soap no pe bia to a uko drugstore pharmacy herbal shop cosmetic shop just provision stores ahodo bebre wo Ghana hanom kra na omuton CB herbal soap no bu obetumi afre Suzy herbal fo ewo telephone numbers amede ba be ma we so ne edikan no eye 0247 11 1671 ne atusumi no ye 0246 578750 near to Sumi and Saye 0240 952027 Meda Ashafonyina Ase.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
This Wednesday on Daily Connect.
2016, I started thinking about relocating to Ghana because I had a desire.
And that's all I'm about to order. You are fired.
malaria nti abayi wa yejuma bono malaria defo ya o enti awo ahire ne customers ni wahu ne se maami aye smart abe CB Malakio amma ne baya odi ko school she se aduane si berry market chi ani malaria nti a ontimi ni onia entina ho ema we mu biara to wo so we malaria test na bi wo mu a edra bedi wa ene CB Malakio ye di nuna ne hahama na akeka bom asone so aye CB Malakio edra we so de enya no kra o aye tata she
edra yi nyema apemfo abata ya wo ma wo manfo ene nkoda wo ni mfie dumia
Suziana wa o de wunya
FDA ahwehwe saa ejedie nkrato yi mu agye atomu se eye
CB makeup now. Amaka correct. Why your best mankasa?
That's it.
Who anymore? Oh, middle. You captures back on CB makeup sauce. Ah, you ready? Me see CB men capsules na make a yen.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules na ye nim ne dada. And one year packaging na ye the
Wow! What a packaging. CB men, any CB women capsules no packaging is out. And you also no mood any bianza na wakodo mpegi.
Share apemfo any abata wo man kwada no fo. Any kwada wo ni fie dunie. En ka ho.
Susanna. Ghana man man tamase.
Dodo Afre 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aje edwede nkato yato.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
For staying with us and joining us. In case you just joined in, this is AM Ghana. Certainly a fruitful way to make your morning as spicy and as beautiful as your morning should be. My name is Reginald Addy, and today I'll be ushering you through the day and steering the affairs with my colleagues here. We have a very fine princess here and a very fine also here. Good morning, gentlemen and lady. How are you guys doing?
Blessed
Lady
and highly
first.
favored.
Blessed and highly. I'm used to that one. Let me speak to Sam. Sam, how are you? So you see, I wasn't wrong when I said that. Yusu, Brawi, Ray. Well, so how was your evening? I realized you monitored the NDC John Dramani Mahama and his thank you speech.
Yes. I was on my way to the another place, so I was trying to get some bites from it whilst I was moving the car to the place. And for me, I think this is what you expect. I mean, he's the former president, and he leads a political party, so I wasn't really surprised about a lot of the things. And it was a thank you tour. I mean, the climax, or if you like, the bringing to an end a thank you tour. So I think, everything as I expected, I got it from there. Yeah.
Very well. So as for me, I sat down wondering that, and as much as the road would be muddy and rough, how would it be for the NDC come 2024? It will be hard, but will they get there? That is the question. But for me, I think that, well, that journey of 1,000 miles has begun with a step. And I must say, I don't really feel the essence of the thank you tour, but in justification, I heard one NDC communication member indicate that saying thank you is better felt when you are in the presence of the person you are appreciating than perhaps being somewhere and sending a letter, sending a video, sending a voice note, sending a WhatsApp message, or using the media or the press whatsoever to get to the. So perhaps if you find yourself in the Western North region, even though you may not be all over the region, perhaps at one point in the region, people feel that yes, indeed, you are there with them, and they feel the impact of that thank you.
But Reginald, you finish. I want to ask a question, so you finish.
To a greater extent, I feel like this is more of a political campaign.
And I agree.
He took opportunity of the moment, said his thank yous, and reminded them that 2024 is coming. Now, Sam, you wanted to.
Yes, but I think you've just cleared my thoughts. But because I was coming there, that my question is, if you win the presidential elections and then you become the president, you know there is no time for you, so you just hit the ground running. You don't have time to go and do thank you tours. So what would then happen? I mean, how would you be saying the thank you? Are you now moving around the country because you are not the president and you have time, you have the luxury of time to say thank you one by one? I mean, even if possible, you could go to district by district. But what if you were the president? How would you go and say the thank you to all these people? So that's why I agree with your last point, that you feel it's rather a political campaign, which gives you the opportunity to tell people that, you know what, okay, I am coming to say thank you, but in 2024, I am going to be around, and the economy is still in shambles, so I still can lead you out of these hardships and all that. So just wait, just hold on for me. I'll be coming quite soon.
I beg to differ a little, because we've also had a president go round.
Exactly. So I was coming.
So we've had him go round touring the other regions as well.
So touring the other regions. I mean, in what capacity?
Exactly.
And then
so
doing what exactly?
He was also saying his thank yous.
Yes, just the same way.
He was also saying his thank yous. So I think that, but obviously his thank you should have. I mean, we expected that thank you earlier. Only that once you transit into another term, you know, it becomes inherent that you look into all of those other sectors that would require immediate attention, which is why we saw a lot of outcry with the delay of the appointment of the MMDCs, ministers, amongst other things. So yes, he had to sit to see to some of these things, and I don't think that it is excusable, or pardon me, it's not inexcusable that he would take all of this time before embarking on a thank you tour. So it's in order, and for the opposition as well, I think that it's in order. But when we speak about opposition, it seems as though NDC is the only opposition in the country, which is why I seem to have a very, 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 and my varies will not run out, very raised to the power times very worrying concern about these other opposition parties who have decided not to make themselves relevant in any way. People voted for them.
Yeah.
People voted for them, regardless, or maybe they want to tell Ghanaians that the votes that came were very small, and so there's no need going around to say thank you, so it doesn't count. Why are they so relaxed? Why are you not even speaking to national issues? And at the end of the day, you want people to come out to vote for you. Hello? Hello? Well, a very good morning to all of them. And I'm also saddened about the independent presidential aspirants as well. I'm very, very disappointed, I must say, because whilst, the country seems to be divided along partisan lines, a lot of hope was vested into these independent candidates, believing that they would come and rescue Ghanaians. But unfortunately, once they come out there and they don't get the nod, then they go back into hibernation, waiting till the time is due, perhaps 2024, October, then they start running campaigns.
Just like the typical students, Ghanaian students.
Just like Ijoma when she was in school. I was a student. I wasn't like that.
I'm happy.
So just like
I'm happy we have viewers, because all who know me know.
I have a very, very different opinion to the opposition and the opposition parties. I think NDC is the only opposition party we have.
Well,
no, that is what they have made it.
Themselves.
No, that is actually the reality, because
what
are the others doing? They don't exist.
It goes in line.
Exactly, they don't exist at all.
NDC happens to be the only opposition party.
And when it changes, when power changes, MPP becomes the only opposition party in the
what is CPP doing? What is PNC doing?
You only see them when it is time for elections. I mean, you can't be an opposition party and do nothing for 3 years, and then appear somewhere in the 3rd year and the 6th month and say, I want to be president. I want to lead the country.
That is not to say that, there are no other registered political parties in the country. They are there. So, to play it safe, let's say that NDC is the only active opposition
for me, they are the only opposition party.
For obvious reasons, it seems as though NDC is the only opposition party.
See, the opposition parties are not serious. We don't see. They are not serious.
We don't even see one representation.
Now, the last time I think
no, that is not their fault. That is not
the last time I was
representation is in Parliament, obviously, as to elections.
Exactly.
So they are doing nothing even in their community.
That is even. I mean, that is even difficult for them.
Exactly.
We are looking at we are looking at a political party that says, let me have. Offices in constituency offices, so that when people who wants to vote for me, when people want to do anything, they can easily find me in the constituency. So I am even present in the constituency to know what is happening in the constituency, so that tomorrow when I'm going there to do campaigning, I know exactly what to say to the people. They are not there. You don't find, apart from NDC and NPP, you don't find any political party that has, let's say, 50 constituency offices in the whole of the country. What? How do we even call them political parties?
Yes. So, Julia,
they are political parties on paper. On paper, they are political parties, but the reality, or realistically, that is why they can't win seats in Parliament. You don't sit in Accra all the time and then say, 3 or 6 months, you take a bus and move to somewhere in the western region or northern region and say you are going to campaign, you want one seat there. Come on, somebody has been there throughout the 4 years.
Yes,
They didn't even win the seat.
I'm saying that if we should see these people in our, as you were just saying, in the constituency, in the neighborhood, and they are fighting for certain things on behalf of, yes, then when it comes to election, I'll do the skirt and blouse because I see this person doing so much for us as a constituency. So we will vote for that person. And then at least, even if they have one representation in parliament, it will mean something to that party, and it will give them that confidence to do. What about if we do it this way to the other constituency, and maybe 2 next time, maybe 5 next time, so that we see something. But as it stands, as he said, there is no other opposition.
It would be politically accurate if we have some of these other opposition parties also representing in parliament. And in fact, it wouldn't be the first time. It has happened before. We've had more than 2 parties representing in parliament, right from the the first republic up onto the Third Republic. It's unfortunate how things turned around in the Fourth Republic. But hey, we'll be having more of this conversation during the newspaper review segment, tackling specifically the former presidents and former flag bearer for the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, as he embarked on the nationwide thank you tour, summing up with a is it a summit, or how should we call it? A lecture, public lecture in Accra yesterday. We also look at why Ghanaians, all of us, want to blame the government when it comes to unemployment in the country. Is it the government's sole responsibility to provide jobs for the nation? Well, we'll look at it and discuss, go deeper into it, looking at the essence of education as well and how it molds the ordinary Ghanaian into coming out as an entrepreneur. Now, I've spoken to a couple of entrepreneurs and they have indicated that not everybody can become an entrepreneur. And we are sitting here with an entrepreneur as well. He's almost everything. So he's a carpenter, he's a lot. And maybe he will share his views before we get to that point. And then we were expecting that come November 17th, the 2022 budget and economic policy of the government would be presented. However, there has been a postponement. We will look into that as well. I don't think that the postponement would cause any much problem, because looking at the days in between there, only for the debates that would have to follow thereafter in Parliament and what it would entail. Well, you heard from Osibisa in the opening, and my director and the crew and their understanding want to share with you and tell you that no matter how hard your situation is, life must still go on. It may be hard, it may be rough, it may be challenging, it may be beyond your thoughts, but trust that once you follow the process, look at me sitting here today. It didn't begin like this for me. It began from baby steps, taking gradual steps, falling, crippling off, standing up again. Today, I'm here speaking to you on television. A very good morning to you once again. And know that no matter how muddy and rough the journey would be, you definitely would get there. Julia, you want to add to that?
No, that's it.
You will add to it.
Okay. So when you are getting through the tough times, I feel like I'm always doing this too. When you're getting through the tough times, just know that yes, it will take some debt, but then when you get there, up there, you look back and know that the debt and the roughness, the toughness was all for a purpose. For a purpose.
Boyaga. I like that. Sam, how do you count the Uncle Apostle?
I don't have any motivation today. If you want to give up, you can go ahead and give up. There is no...
Do not give up. Stay with us. You're watching AM Ghana. We'll be right back to give you the newspaper headlines.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
Water, but when I get your mouth, and that's all I'm order. You are fired.
Malaria nti abayiwa yejuma bono.
What you are doing here?
Malaria therefore ya o. Enti awo ahire ne customers ni. Wahu ne se maami aye smart. Ape CB Malakio. Amma ne ba ya odi ko school. She se aduane si berry market chi ni malaria nti a ontimi ni.
And smell Emma when we are at war. So we are malaria test. Maybe one. And Trebetua and the CB Malakio. Yedinuna, Nehama, and now kick out from a son so I CB Malakio. And no way so dear. And I don't grow. I yet tata shit.
A drawing your ma appeal for about a woman for any quada one you fear
Susiana, what would you with
FD Ashusha sa a jedi and crato you mu adia to Musa again.
Welcome back, it's AM Ghana here on Adoatv Television, and thanks for staying. We have the newspaper segment now, the newspaper headline segments now. So we are going to quickly take you through what the newspapers are saying. And I have with me the Ghanaian Times. It's also the most authoritative newspaper, and let's see what it has for us. Now the front page has a few stories here. NTC and RSA, others launch nationwide campaign against road crashes. NTC and RSA, others launch nationwide campaign against road crashes. What is NTC? Okay, so it is the National Road Safety Authority, as well as the, where is the NTC? The New Times Corporation, okay, publishers of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So publishers of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, you call them the New Times Corporation and the National Road Safety Authority. And others launch nationwide campaign against road crashes. Now, we will support Electrochem to successfully develop Songo. Okay. Minerals Commission is speaking here. Well, it's on the front.
If I had said that,
it's Songo.
If I had said that, it would have been breaking news.
Songo. So that's why.
If I had said that,
no, but that's why I gave options. So if you are listening, just pick the ones that you think it's right?
Objectives are
Exactly. Illicit items flood prisons due to absence of scanning machines to check visitors' inmates. It's very true. It's very true. Illicit items flood prisons due to absence of scanning machines to check visitors' inmates.
Yesterday, speaking to the PRO of the
prison service,
I should have touched on that one. It's unfortunate that we didn't have enough time, but we promised our viewers that we were going to bring an extensive conversation on that interview. So I don't know if this one is a follow-up on what we did yesterday. But it's normal, yeah. People like to copy us, so it's fine.
Star Witness is brainchild of alleged coup. That is Defense Counsel, and this is in relation to the Dr. Mark Palm's issue. Man in court for allegedly robbing and raping victim. Head teacher granted 80,000 bail for defiling girl 15. Let me quickly run through this. Parliament adjourns prematurely for lack of quorum. Yesterday I watched that and I was very angry.
Again.
I was very angry. Victims of tidal wave destruction returning home after receiving support from Assembly and NADMO. Okay. National Road Safety Authority boss named West Africa Road Safety Ambassador. Mrs. Obi Yeboah Mary is here receiving the award. And the Human Rights Group organizes workshop on Ghana case tracking system. Okay. SEC, that is SEC, provides guidelines for credit rating agencies. And okay, so in sports, the Theater of Dreams gets conditional approval. Evans Yeboah re-elected badminton president. And my aim is to raise African para sports to the next levels. The new elected president, Samson Dane, is speaking. And of course, we know the Black Stars will be playing. Black Stars will be playing their colleague Ethiopians coming Sunday. Is also here. President to launch AG, that is 2023 logo, mascot soon. Okay, and Coach Sapon cautions Black Stars against complacency. The back page is for the Black Stars. Black Stars set for Ethiopia tests, as our captain Dede Ayew is displayed here, as well as the Ethiopian midfielder Gatane Kebede. So that's it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
I'm happy that sports news didn't reach the hands of my very good friend called J.O. She would have twisted things around. If the cap fits you, let's read the daily graphic then. Now, on page 20, it says that Ghana marks day at COP26. That is a climate conference in Glasgow. My good friend J.O. will say Scotland.
But when you said COP, I almost thought it was the Church of Pentecost.
Oh, well, it comes in there. Well, it's true. COP as
Today you came with an objective test. You seem to have a lot of alternatives.
Yeah. He's a man of different colors. On page 16, crackdown on driver and discipline. And yes, such a great call for such times. I don't know why the drivers are speedy. I don't know. Maybe there is a gravitational force that is pulling horizontally on our roads, such that, I don't know, maybe there is a magnet at the pole or at the destination where these buses are going to, attracting them, pulling them closer. The speed on the roads, I don't understand. Or maybe it's a psychological perception that during these times, we think the cars are speeding, but they're actually not speeding. Well, whichever way it is, there must be discipline on our roads, and there must be a crackdown on the drivers and the nature of their indiscipline on our roads. On page 3, chieftaincy disputes the major security threat, says Honorable Khan Dapa, Minister of National Security. Now, the big story here, dealing with youth unemployment. We must work together, says John Dramani Mahama. And this is all falling out of the public lecture yesterday. It speaks about unemployment challenges, and it's continued on page 16 from the front page of the Daily Graphic. And Inquisition would lead us on to page 16, where he speaks about the government's approach. He says there is no plan, and then he ushers in an NDC plan, speaking about technology, tax burden, supporting companies and workers as well. So it's quite an extensive one. And during the newspaper review segment, certainly we are going to touch on this one. So you would want to join in the conversation and share your thoughts. What do you think about the presentation yesterday? We are streaming live on Facebook as Adoatv Ghana, and you can share with us on our WhatsApp platforms as well. They are at the base of your television set. Now let's quickly jump onto the back page of the Daily Graphic. They call it the Daily Graphic Sports. FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Stars can't falter against Ethiopia today. Sam, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, of course, if we really want to get to the World Cup, we have no option. In fact, we have just one option, and we have to win this particular game. Even if we draw against the Ethiopians, we should consider ourselves out. So we have just a single option.
Wow. Well, let's see. It says the Stars can't, indeed, we can't falter.
Yeah, because we blew our chances, and now this is where we are. If we need at least 4 points, and we are going to play against South Africa after this game, and that is a tough match for us. So trust me, you need to win this one. Ethiopia.
So that even if you get onto the tougher,
yes, if you have a 1 point, a draw from the South African game, it will still help us. But then, if you lose this one, you can't win against the South Africans. Even though it's possible, that is quite difficult a task than this one. Exactly. So if you have plans to get there, you do the most basic things right, and then you qualify for it.
Very well. Let's see. More grease to your elbows, dear players, and my good friend will say more Gary to your jinky. Now, the other story here, Hazaka's ladies to maintain unbeaten run. And, well, we wish them the very best in the running. You want to comment briefly on
that? They have really, exceeded everybody's expectation. And I think kudos to them. Kudos to them. Wherever, for me, even if they come out, they come out of the competition at where they have gotten to now, we will still, applaud them. But it looks as if they are going for the ultimate, and that's a great thing for us.
Interesting. So let's hope that with all the strides being made there, at least we can have a GPL, in the betting league, so that when we bet, we can win small. Top latest innovations, best practices, maritime stakeholders urged. This is in the center spread of the Daily Graphic. President Akufo-Addo and world leaders witness investiture of Nevis, and that's it on the center spread here in the Daily Graphic. If you grab a copy for yourself, there are other interesting stories in there. The finance minister has spoken. He says that we will not go for IMF bailout regardless. So we'll put that into the newspaper review segment. That's it for the Daily Graphic.
Well, the Daily Guide has this to say: more revenue to cap borrowing. That's coming from Kojo Opong and Nkrumah. More revenue. I'm wondering where it's coming from. Well,
taxation. Where would it come from? Baller tax, COVID-19 tax, airports, $50, COVID-19, what. That is if it's coming into our coffers alone. But, there are several avenues if they want to, drain the ordinary Ghanaian to get to that point.
To
so
cap down
let's see how it goes.
on borrowing.
Yesterday, one friend of mine raised a very interesting argument. He thought that we are paying more taxes because the tax net is a little bit smaller.
It's narrow. And it's targeted on certain individuals, certain segments, certain category of people.
And if the government would be able to expand it and cover a lot of people,
especially
then
the informal sector.
Exactly. Then all these plenty taxes perhaps will not be needed. But you having a few people paying the taxes, and so if you really want development, then
so the burden will be great on those few people that are paying. If we put measures in place to ensure that those in the informal sector are
also
paying their taxes and paying them properly, then if we also enable the environment so that businesses will spring up. There'll be more taxes to be paid.
Just to make sure that these are not our words, it's here. It says, obviously, we would need to introduce some new broad-based taxes, if we are to rake in the needed revenues to deliver what our people desire, new taxes may have to be imposed on items that exclude the poor and do not have high cascading effect, so that it does not increase the difficulties that the Ghanaian is already going through. So that's coming from Kojo Opong Nkrumah. All right. So the screaming headline, yes, it's there. A picture of Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempa. He's been rearrested and he gets 100,000 Ghana cedis bail.
Recidivism.
Yeah, it says I went to check the meaning, you know.
Yes.
I had to go and check the meaning.
And what does it mean?
It means the tendency of offenders to go back and repeat the same offense. Yeah.
He's almost becoming a serial. Hey, no.
Hey.
Offender.
No, it's not a new offense. It's not a new
It's not a
offense.
new offense.
It is the same offense that got him into the public.
This is
library.
just part two of the action.
Oh, yes.
This is just part
so
two
he
of
has,
that.
unfortunately, part 1 and 2.
Okay. The same woman, same machine. My goodness. Hey.
So it's not similar to the recidivism that has been mentioned.
So what at all has to be done to this particular issue?
Well, the IGP has spoken especially about, some of the activities. And let me say kudos to the IGP, since I've mentioned his name. Yesterday, he met the players in the creative arts industry. And I wonder who has ever done this before, which IGP? Yes, we've seen some other ministers and all that, meeting different, but the IGP, seeing all of these musicians taking pictures and all, Charlie.
I think it's a message to everybody that, every group that he meets, that you see, we want to work, okay? So keep your house in order, so that tomorrow, when somebody misbehaves in your group and we come for the person, you don't come and do I beg you please the first time. And so we are putting the information out there. For me, I think it's good that you don't take people by surprise, even though that is your work. Whether they are if you have to take them by surprise when they misbehave, you have to do it. But then he's giving people that prior notice that we want the country to work. And in my area, this is what I want to do. Please make sure that you are keeping your house in order, because when somebody misbehaves, we are coming for the person. He is not leaving the parliament issue alone. The SOSU and he's not leaving it alone. They are waiting for the MP. So if you are a musician,
All right, let's continue.
You don't have to misbehave. That's all.
Enough on that. Anyway, First Lady built hostel for cancer children. Wow, yeah. First Lady built hostel for cancer children. That story is on page 6. MPs dodge Parliament again. And NDC drag EC to police. And we know now there's some kind of conflicts there, re-resurrected issues between the NDC and the EC. So jumping straight to the back page, beating Ethiopia, South Africa is our agenda. And of course, it's coming from the Black Stars coach, Milovan Rajevak. I'm also giving options. So take one.
Work back. There's no option here.
Please, I'm giving
work
options.
back.
Conte bans, is that ketchup? Yes, ketchup and mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Oh.
And pizza and other stuff.
Which country is that?
No, for
what
his
are you talking
players.
about? It's a football coach. What is his country?
You see, it will be hard, we know. And the road will get muddy. I will get there.
We'll wait for you.
Yeah, wait for me. Charlie, they get me.
Which country is that?
All right, my last news.
Conte is a human being. Okay?
I know.
Thank you very much.
So they're all set for Good Day Energy X country. What's that supposed to be?
No, cross country. Yes,
Oh,
that
so
is how.
cross.
Yes,
Okay.
cross.
You say what?
X
It's
count.
X. How would you have pronounced it?
I wouldn't have known this. What are you talking
Of
about?
course you wouldn't
Don't
have
you know
known.
that X is
We
cross?
All right, so let's wrap up for the daily guide. I hand you over to Sam Gusi.
All right, this is interesting. I have another daily here, but it's the Statesman. And the Transport Minister charges journalists to champion road safety agenda. Okay, we would do our bit to also sensitize people. We can't waste time anymore. Herbert Krapper urges stakeholders to pursue a shared AFC-FTA implementation. He's the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. Okay. Government seeks to mobilize more domestic revenue. And First Lady gives hope to children with cancer. Thank you, First Lady. First Lady has been building things for Ghana.
Yeah.
She's done well. She's done well. Well, let's move on. Ibrahim Anyas outlines exit plan for NAPCO beneficiary. You know, when I watched the interview with Omar Sanda, I learned a lot about the name Anyas. Ibrahim Anyas.
Yes.
Very, very interesting history behind that particular name. Yeah. In Zema East MCE, there's critics to provide 30,000 Ghana cedis bribery evidence against her, and fake soldier arrested over military recruitment scam. Hey, people don't fear things. You are going to do fake things. You didn't take it anywhere. Soldier. Well,
there are lots of them in the system.
All the best.
There are lots of them in the system.
I'm wishing him all the best.
Now
that they have him.
This is even less daring than those who have the audacity to wear the soldier
uniform.
The uniform. How do they call it? The camouflage.
Yes.
And go parading as though now who's right?
And those who are able to go to the law court and say we are going to defend people.
Recently,
I'm not a lawyer.
Recently, another one.
How do people think? Like what kind of task is it? This is not an easy task for you.
Bro?
I mean, I don't know whether it's the money associated with it or what. But how do you say that you don't have any qualification to be a lawyer, but or as a lawyer, but you just go and acquire the uniforms and say, I am a lawyer. I go to court. My lord.
They do not even know that in preparation of legal documents, if you are not a legal practitioner and you are found to be part of those in the preparation, you'll be found wanting. So how do you have even the least audacity to
that is a lot of audacity, trust me.
Address a judge as my lord.
My lord.
You've been watching.
My lord. My name is blah blah blah. I'm from something consort or an associate. Then you start. My lord, no, I don't understand this. This and this and this. I quote the laws. Only a lawyer. And then what will you get?
Well.
Anyway, let me go. Let me. My head will headache me if I want to say this. Communication mast collapses on 2 great coat towers. Hey, your people who discotheque. That is why they were doing the disco things. Yeah.
How should I call it?
You experienced that yesterday.
Yesterday, the lights were out. Now let's take, I beg of you, and producer, please. I know even in your area, Accra is the same thing, director. The lights are just going on and off.
They said the thing fell on Gridco mast. That is why.
No, come on, Sam. Is it not in the same country that months ago we had to experience a scheduled power outage because they said that they were laying new cables?
Yeah, they were working
whatsoever.
on. Yeah.
So now we give you time, you lay new cables, and out of nothing, you don't pay respect to the ordinary Ghanaian. Why? Is it because, well, I don't know. I can't even find the reasons.
Yes.
Before the accident, Julia, it is becoming one too much. Every day we have an excuse with
No, it's countrywide. It's countrywide. I think
you can't
the last
Intercredit to change their
2 days ago. Is it 2 days ago or 3 days ago?
Because he did the
you know,
same thing.
a friend of mine came from Ho, and he was asking me, this 3 days ago light out, did he also get it? I was like, yeah. So he was like, yeah.
Yes.
So it was something countrywide.
In the western region, some parts of Sunyani, and the greater parts of Greater Accra.
Because I know Ashanti, I saw yesterday Ashanti region was also complaining of the same thing.
And so if there is just as Greatco, you know, I respect the fact that they came out yesterday to tell us that the challenges were fixed. Obviously, it's not fixed because the lights are still going out. So what is going on? If there is a problem, it's just right that you tell Ghanaians that just frustrate us.
Now they say that
they say something
fell. Communication must fail on on some of the.
Just fall.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens, but this is not the excuse. Before it fell, the lights were going out, and the manner in which they even went out is problematic. The disco lights. Oh, yeah, seriously. Oh, you should have seen it from my view.
No, for me, I experienced it. You know, I was at Newtown. In fact, I was working and just imagine the lights and our machines, and we had to put off everything and then go and sleep in our house.
At least we come too far to be dealing with such things.
Well, contribution reports for employees without Ghana card will be rejected. Yes, contribution reports for employees without Ghana card will be rejected. Social Security and National Insurance Trust says employers who submit contribution reports for employees without Ghana card numbers from next year risk attracting sanctions. Thank you. AMA begins Central Business District revenue mobile. You see, I support the Ghana card thing 1,000%. And however they are going to, of course, it should be humanly acceptable means. But however they are going to do and make sure we all have our Ghana card, they should do it. I support them. We need to move the country forward by tender, by fire.
By tender,
by fire.
Which tender? How about tender?
No, but now I learned they've opened permanent offices.
They are
in the process.
They
are in
should.
the process. So
whether they would open.
Let's
or
hope and see how far it goes.
AMA begins Central Business District revenue mobilization drive, and well, some entertainment news is here. Travis Scott should have stopped concert earlier, says fire chief. I paid for my own ticket to UN Climate Change Conference, or Chame Kwame speaking. And Sisi Chum condemns activities of homosexuality, as expected. Now, let me move to the last page. Of course, is sports. Emily Smith-Rowe. I ran downstairs and told my mom after surprise England call-up. Oh, congratulations there. Away kids at home on Boxing Day for homeless charity. Premier League blocks idea. Now, this is a very, very interesting story. Diallo, Paris Saint-Germain player, arrested as part of investigation into attack on a teammate. Now, this is what happens. There is this woman, Amina Diallo. That is the name. She's 26 years old. She plays for the France women's national team and also plays for Paris Saint-Germain. Very good player. Football, you buy players from all over the world. I mean, so her team bought another player from the Barcelona women's team.
She plays for PSG.
Yes, PSG has a female. They all have female teams. Yeah. So the club bought another player from Barcelona. Just the start of the season, and you know they bought an expensive player coming in. So her position was at. I mean, yeah, exactly.
She felt that her position.
In fact, it was
okay
because the player just came in and slotted in smoothly into the team, and because of that, she had to sit on the bench. Now, looking at the pedigree of the player that came in, it is almost impossible for you to outplay her and then take your position back. So you know what this woman does? She goes in to hire some masked men to go and beat this new player.
Damage her.
Yes, beat her, injure her, make sure that she's injured, she cannot be playing football, and so that I can have my position back.
Has it been established that she was actually...
Exactly. In fact, she's been arrested, and she's been charged for plenty things. So this is substitution by rough tactics. This is not tactics. This is touches. She employed people to go and touch the woman so that
she did. I would
she
say
will learn sense.
Have the welfare of the team at heart.
Yes.
At all.
So this is pure greediness and
Greediness.
Yes. And
it shouldn't be encouraged.
And I believe the club would also take action against her. I wouldn't be surprised she will be expelled from the club.
So the little you had that you didn't cherish, it would even be taken.
Exactly. I mean, we are investing this much, buying a player from Barcelona, and you want to kill the player because she's taking your position. I mean, work hard and come back, and come and take your position. So that is from Diallo, Amina Diallo's camp. Now, Tyson Fury is here, WBC heavyweight champion, badly injured before the fight, says his father. What did he do? Anyway, Steven Gerrard, Rangers manager, favorite for Aston Villa job. And this is for the Daily Statesman.
All right, now let's jump into the new crusading guide. I want us to do this quickly because there is a basic headline that I really want us to touch on. The new crusading guide says on page 8 that surveyor writes to National House of Chiefs. AFCFTA benefits would not come by chance, Herbert Kwapa, to institutions. So you're definitely perhaps going to have to work for it and also follow certain procedures for it. Ghana committed to climate education and sustainability in schools, says Honorable Intim Fujo. Nungwa Mancha raises alarm on forged signatures on Sioux land documents. Why? The big story here, Mahama fires Akufo-Addo over Ghana's economy. And the back page has a celebration of life, and may we continuously celebrate those who have lived exemplary lives. The penultimate page definitely has some sports crusade, they call it. Blacks, wait to.
We are waiting.
No, it's the Black Stars.
Oh,
now,
okay.
I don't know if the name has changed, but I know that it's been Black Stars.
Yes,
not
it's
Black
Stars.
Stars. So, Black Stars play Ethiopia today. Another story here, Guinean footballer Anas fears for career. Hey, I hope he's not going to be beaten.
No. I mean, his story is also sad.
Oh, okay. Ghanaian footballer Anas fears for career after reports he was released by club for being cursed. Oh.
The South African.
Another very, I mean, it's a sad story. The report says that he's been released because his players think that he carries bad luck. Every club he has played for has been relegated.
Oh.
I mean, when he signs for you, you get relegated, and so that is why. I mean, but that is bad. I mean, that is very unfortunate.
It's very, very, very bad.
It has no basis.
It has no basis. It having no basis. Look, people have gone through such things and they've ended up committing suicide because of the trauma that they go through, and they feel like there was a suicide note where one person indicated that he feels. It's a musician, actually.
The young musician, yeah.
He felt that nothing good was cut out for him.
Exactly. It's just recent. I think a month ago.
Yeah, just about a month ago.
Yeah.
It's serious. And
I am not surprised that it's coming from South Africa.
I mean,
well. I mean, that is. I mean, another thing to deal with.
He has to pick himself up. It is a very difficult situation for him. You know, in South Africa, there has
to move away from that.
There have been cases like that. Even against South Africans. Yesterday, I was reading a lot about players in South Africa who had to deal with such things, but they managed to be successful. If you go to England, the Arsenal goalkeeper currently, the guy was also in the same situation. I mean, he played for several clubs. They were all relegated, but now he's playing for Arsenal. And
Arsenal has not been relegated.
I mean, they won't be relegated. I mean, he's performing. In his last 10 games, he has kept 6 clean sheets, and that's brilliant performance. So there is no justification for what these people are doing. I mean, to treat your own African brother this way is very bad. Very bad.
Well, another story. It's sad. Rashford receives MB from Prince William. On that sad note, let me wrap up on the new proceeding guide.
Well, last but definitely not the least, the Chronicle. That's a true independence, and I would like to say Mkondo Wesizwe, as my good friend educated me on. So we need to mobilize more domestic revenue, speaking still on taxation and revenue. So we have pictures of Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister of Finance, and Kojo Opon Nkrumah, Minister of Information there. And this story again coming from Herbert Krapa. Work hard for Ghana to reap AFCFTA, that's that free trade issue, African continent benefits. Okay, so he tells institutions. Then again, I think we've touched on all these stories. MPs fail to report to work, and Speaker was forced to adjourn proceedings. He had this to say: honorable members, I think this house is embarrassed. The cameras are on us. We deliberately suspended the house for 1 hour just to make sure we get the numbers. Yet, we could not make up the numbers. I have counted and counted and counted, but we still don't have the numbers. Please, Let's
advise ourselves. That was exactly his statement. Yesterday, I watched Andrew Zamakon. What's his name? Is he a Siama? Andrew Zamakon Siama, yeah. He was not happy at all.
So what advice do some of these MPs also have for their workers, those under them?
So what advice would they have for them?
I mean, you should have seen the visuals yesterday. They were not there.
They were not there. I mean, it's this not the first time. I mean,
yes, of course, yes.
In the course of the week, Charlie.
Black Stars. Sorry, I've jumped to the back page with sports. Black Stars to ride over Ethiopia today. Some confidence level. Anyway, South Africa in a must-win game against Zimbabwe.
We have to pray
I think Ghanaians have their fingers like this.
We have to, we really have to pray that that game goes in our favor. South Africa has to some way somehow.
See how he's saying
lose or something.
He's trying his best to cut his sugarcoating his way.
But
what he says,
but in the art of war, when the formidable is conquered, then the rest of you know that. It's just no. Ijoma, I am speaking in the sense of the art of war, not basically perhaps where you might be coming from. In the art of war, and I'm trying to liken it to this: when the leader is conquered, the rest of you, what happens? Now we are scared to play against South Africa.
We are not.
Now what happens to the person who slaughtered South Africa? Are we praying well?
No, I mean they do not have a chance. So when they are able to make us do us that favor, I mean, even if they draw with South Africa, and we win against Ethiopia, that puts us in a very, very good position. Even though we will play them last, we will play against South Africa. But then,
but it's about the standings.
It's about the standings.
Right.
So you need to pray for some people to drop so that your chances of getting
with South
there.
Africa's standing, would Ethiopia easily, take them out?
That is almost an impossible thing. Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
That's almost an impossible task for Zimbabwe to do.
Right.
Yeah. So, in fact, we are going to beat Ethiopia. They are going to beat Zimbabwe. And so the showdown would really come to ourselves and them. And when it happens that
we are going to beat Ethiopia.
Oh, of course, we will beat it. We should beat it. And now, if anybody who thinks South Africa will also slack.
Let me check my odds.
Okay, when I thought he wanted to feed our viewers, this is what he was going to. Anyway,
of course, this is feeding the viewers.
You don't know what is happening. You are not in the
game. Yesterday, a friend of mine asked, what profession, what a business assures or can assure you 100% profit? And somebody said constructions, and they were like, yeah, construction is the only, if you build, you are able to, get 100% profit. I'm like, out of nowhere, somebody just said, what about betting? The guy said, so I can give you 5,000% profit.
Wow.
So that is feeding. I mean, the biggest employer of the youth recently in Ghana.
On that note, I want to say hi to Jonah, if you're watching. Jonah, hello. Mr. Odate. Hello.
Why are you mentioning Odate's name?
I'm just sending them a wave. Yeah. Before I finish.
You want to say Odate lies betting?
Hey, me, did I say
that? Is exactly what you want to say.
That's your
we are
word.
talking about betting, and you are mentioning Jonathan and Odate's name.
Why? Are they also?
Do they bet? They bet a lot, eh?
I'm being encouraged.
How do you know?
How exactly that they bet?
They say, show me your friend, and I'll show
Birds of the same feathers. They are friends.
Look at your colors.
Yes, you are birds of the same.
Thank God you can notice them. Those who defend, thank God.
Defend what? No. You are now telling us people bet.
And I'm seeing my friend.
Now we know your character.
That you bet. And you bet with Jonathan and Odate.
They've been sharing their views and everything on WhatsApp. It's okay, I should cut it short.
You go ahead.
I'm surprised that you are giving your friends out
Haven't you guys created
You guys are betting.
Haven't you guys created a page?
Which people are you talking about? Odate and Jonathan?
Where is this coming from?
Coach, I learned you are coaching that.
Where is this coming from?
This is preposterous. This is yes.
The first lady has
He's trying
donated,
to. Please, I'm still on the floor.
Patients.
Please, I'm still on the floor. You are not taking.
Okay. Let's go on.
So I'm going to feed you with more. The Africa World Cup final group qualifying matches intensify. So we have from Group A, to Group F. And the two men here, I'm just thankful they didn't get hold of this paper. I wonder what advice they would have been given to people, whether it is bets and what's the name of that? Oh, I've forgotten their names.
I don't really understand.
I know.
I don't understand the language she's speaking, in fact.
I know. So, match day 5. Continue for you. And I hope you guys all the best, because it's not as I'm prophesying, but if you don't know and you go there, that money is going to be channeled somewhere else. Amen. So that's how I wrap up for. Oh, yeah, I've not done Proverbs 6:6.
You can't come and accuse people and start reading Bible. What is that? You're accusing people, you want to read Bible. How do you accuse people wrongly and you want to read Bible?
Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise.
So this one just spoke to you.
Who the cap
go
fits.
to the ant who has been betting, and he will show you how to make money
it is that
in the 21st century.
Ants do not bet. They work.
Are you an ant?
I see them all the time.
Hey.
They work.
This one in here, things are coming out. Now you're an ant.
I mean, they carry pong-pong.
Yo.
Wow.
The ants work. They move out. They are serious. They work. Stop bet. Ants do not bet. They don't wake up.
Julia, we are playfully speaking around betting and all that. And let's first off take the opportunity to indicate that all names mentioned and all that are all fictitious in relation to what we are speaking about. And this is just to create that awareness that whether you like it or not, the 21st century youth have banked on betting, and it is something that we need to look at as a nation. Should we perhaps place our focus on betting, educate the young ones and on how to go about some of these things, because it's a risk-taking activity, and for some people this poses a lot of challenges, and I think that there should be education into it. Some use funds that are not meant for them to go into this venture. Some also use the funds that they generate from this venture into some profitable ventures. And so it is something that we need to carefully look at. Maybe until Shleyote and Wasitnemu saying and other social programs, we will tackle the upsurge of betting in the country and look at the positives and negatives of it and see how best we can be guided towards this activity which is springing up, and also sort of winning the trust and the time of the youth. And so all we are discussing is just to now all of
throw
these
more light.
All of these now goes in line with the challenge that we are facing in employment, and we will talk about this when we get to the newspaper review segment. But before we go on that end, I want to take your views quickly on what is captured in, I think it's the Daily Statesman, the First Lady providing
daily guide.
Okay,
to
so we have it in
children
the
with
guide.
cancer.
She provides and I remember just months ago there was a whole cacophony, and this word has given me an accolade. Good morning to Esther Ankra, wherever you are. I pray that you get God's healing. The cacophony that we've heard, that we experienced about the allowances that were given the First Lady and the proposed salaries as well for the First Ladies, we saw how it went. But irrespective of she returning whatever funds she received as allowance, she's still going on and playing these roles in the lives of Ghanaians. And it's not just the First Lady, Her Ladyship Rebecca Akufu, but we've seen former First Ladies as well. We had the former First Lady Nana Konedu Ajiman Rawlings, who had a fund for children. We've had several funds for children as well, and even we have the Rebecca Foundation as well, continuously doing great things in the lives of Ghanaians. And for me, I think that the role that they play in our country is a little, to some greater extent, belittled. It's like we don't see their essence, we don't see their role, but they play that motherly role in our lives. And I think that the allowances that was proposed for them should be reconsidered, especially for those playing those key roles. And if whether you like it or not, they are taking care of the first gentleman of this nation. Now, if the first gentleman goes home and there is, he doesn't have that cushion, that comfort from home, from his wife, and it affects him. You realize that we give the president all of the attention, the medical attention, the social attention, the security protection, amongst other things, and we don't think about his spousal protection as well. If the wives of our presidents are not settled, if they are not properly taken care of, if they are not properly catered for, all right, yes, it is in the layer of the husband, who also is the president, to cater for the family, all right. But I am saying that if the atmosphere that he calls home is not conducive enough, I wonder how well he would be in a position to conduct the affairs of the nation.
During that,
kudos to the first lady for all the good work that she's doing. It's rather unfortunate.
During that conversation about the allowances and the salaries, I was in agreement with a section of Ghanaians who thought that paying the first lady and the second lady, because whether we like it or not, since Nana Kunedu's time, we can point to specific, contributions that various first ladies have done as far as Ghana is concerned. We can see them. We can see them. This particular one that Rebecca has actually brought up is the first of its kind and the largest in the whole of Africa. So we can really not belittle this. So I was in agreement with the section that was of the view that let us just streamline the whole thing. Let us go ahead and pay them if we deem it so. But then let us define their roles. That now, when you become a first lady, let's say your position as a first lady is maybe likened to a minister of state, where projects, some tasks are assigned to you.
For nothing, all the children's homes should be put under.
Exactly. So these tasks are assigned to you because the state has employed you in that capacity. Then you are going to tell us. We are going to provide for you budgets for your office, or in other words, your ministry, if you like. And then at the end of the year, you are coming to report back to us that A, B, C, and D is what I did, so that we don't subject them to some. People were very harsh towards them, and you can't also blame these people a lot because they feel that some opportunities are given to them by virtue of the fact that they are first ladies and blah blah. But these people are working. Lordina Mahama had her own foundation. She was, I think, more interested in education, and she did a lot of things. Throughout. The second lady, what's her name, Samira Baumia, is building ICT labs, renovating hospitals, and blah blah blah. So they are doing quite a lot. Perhaps we should now
if the roles are well defined, then we will measure.
Yes.
What level of performance? So then this will be in tandem with whatever funds is given.
Exactly.
I wouldn't seem as
because they are working. Trust me. If you are supposed to measure, if you are supposed to mark ministers of state as against the first lady and the second lady, in recent times, trust me, we will find some MPs and ministers of state wanting. These people are really performing. They are doing well. I remember in the first term of Nana Akufo-Addo, Manasseh wrote an article about the first lady and previous first ladies, and the focus was on this particular first lady. From the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital to Kolebu to, she was doing quite a lot.
Where is she getting the money from?
Show the support.
If she was a selfish and greedy person,
she won't.
Many Ghanaians have thought that wanted to take from the national coffers for nothing. She wouldn't be doing.
And this is not from the national coffers.
No. It's a foundation.
She solicits for the funds.
Yes.
And then she goes ahead to do test projects with it, like all other first and second ladies. So. I think we should applaud them. We shouldn't discourage them when such issues come up by bombarding them. Your husband is the blah blah. You're this and this and that. we should find a way to have a very, very beautiful conversation around these people. Whether we like it or not, the children suffering from cancer are going to be benefiting from it.
And these children will be some children of Ghanaians
who were even lambasting them, I mean, during those issues. So we should know how to, I mean, engage in very polite discourses when it comes to such people holding such positions, because they contribute so much. Contribute so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be a first lady?
No, president. Yeah. So.
Why?
Why?
But you said the thing and you are laughing. Why wouldn't he laugh?
Yeah, I'm laughing. I'm saying my thing. Yeah,
You
I'm
said
laughing.
the thing and you are laughing. Like when you
yeah,
said it,
I
I
know.
was filled with so much
I know it wouldn't be easy, of course. So why, of course, the road will be hard. It will be rough. It will be tough. But
not like for choice or MP or something.
No. Take your time. Some of us. we don't follow the normal protocol.
But Julia, I mean, you are a lady, and we are living in a country where we're still, you know, in conversations about the passing of the affirmative action bill. You know, that is supposed to see to the opportunity given some women, amongst other things. But there are women in the country who are not waiting for an affirmative action bill. And this is me. This is always my argument, that you don't need to wait for it. It's as simple as you don't need to wait for it. Pose yourself. Those women who pose themselves to be voted as members of parliament, where are they?
They are members of parliament.
They are members of parliament.
They have gone ahead to become ministers of state.
Did they wait for any affirmative whatnot? You see, waiting for that thing is more like to say, give us the opportunity and we'll come. Who is giving you opportunities in this?
That is when I'll even be scared of you.
Exactly. So, Julia, we've seen, I mean, several ladies, MPs, what have you. But the first lady and the role she's playing, I mean, you're a woman. Maybe you can say more to it.
Well, I think the little I have to say to it, you touched a little on it, and then some, I think, nailed it on the head. You talked about the motherly. Complete. Anyway,
this is one big argument.
Let me do the painting. Let me do the painting and the furnishing. So like yes, you talked about the role of the first, not just in the capacity as a first lady, but as a mother. And so when we always talk about mothers, the first word that comes to mind is sacrifice. Mothers do that all the time.
Exactly.
Sacrifice. And I think that it's not far-fetched to say that to even see her give away that money, immediately a controversy arose around that particular issue. But I like what Sam said, that maybe when the roles are clearly defined, because for Ghanaians, that's what we are always looking for. We always want something clearly defined. When somebody is sacrificing, we don't see it. And we will never acknowledge it until...
I acknowledge.
We will never acknowledge it until it is well defined, it is written somewhere before, because all these things, I mean, we like the thank you, and then we leave it at that. But that is the work of a mother. So I'm very happy that she is not discouraged in any way. She is not discouraged at all. She's going ahead, irrespective of whether the affirmative action bill has been implemented or not. She's going ahead to do it. So yes, I'm very happy that she's showing us who a mother is, with a sacrifice, hard work, and all that. Pay or no pay, in a Ghanaian context, mothers pay or no pay, we still the worker. So that's
well. Yeah, so Julia Ijoma has spoken, and she's my very good friend. So when she speaks like that, I just have to, you know, agree with her so much. I mean, she would give credence to some who nails it on the head. Nela, what you are doing now? This I'm going to throw so much to you. Let's dive into sports a little bit. Since that conversation came up, now I am more concerned about our local sports here in the country. We spoke about betting and all that, but when you get there, you don't see the GPL. What is happening to our local teams? Let's first of all touch on Accra House of Oak that is celebrating its 110th anniversary. Accra House of Oak is one of those premier football teams in the country.
Yeah.
Established way back. 19 something. 1911. Yeah, I know it's 1910 or 1911 because 1910 has a bearing with
of course
1911. And so it means that 1910 to 112. Yes. So Accra House of Oak, they've been through all of these years from now to from 1911 to now. They are 110 years old. And on behalf of the entire team here at Adoatv Television, on my own behalf, and on behalf of my colleagues, we say kudos to you, congratulations, how far you've come. We've seen the downfalls, we've seen the challenges, we've seen the defeats. There's been joyous moments and there's been times when AI, oh, it's a disappointment. But it all adds up to the fun that we enjoy as football lovers. You've contributed to the soccer sphere in the country, and we pray that from now until the next 110 years, the bones will never be rotten and will never say die. Keep on pushing and pushing and pushing. So the song in the background there, yes, solely dedicated to you, all fans of Accra House of Oak, and all the players, the management of Accra House of Oak. Oseye to Accra House of Oak. Maybe if we have a video of Accra House of Oak playing, let's see some highlights of Accra House of Oak. And Allah, 110th anniversary. It's been long coming, I must say. It's not been easy. We've seen the defeats, we've seen the bad moments, but there's been joyous moments as well. Allah, hey.
Of course, your stomach.
Be quiet and don't be silly. Is a what?
A mighty king. A millennium team. Where?
I want to dance shaku shaku to this one. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. So that was Accra House of Oak and their anthem. I'm sure somebody has seen me. Please let me dance in peace. We are celebrating Accra House of Oak 110 years. It's not been easy, like I said. We've seen the challenges, we've seen the hard times, we've seen the good and joyous moments. But one thing I want to say about the losing moments is that, you see, if you win every time, you would forget that there is a God who conducts your affairs. So sometimes he makes you lose a little on. So if you're losing your way, then you return back to your God. And remember that you pray to him before you conduct any football activity. But in all, Accra House of Oak has contributed to soccer. The worst moment we experienced with Accra House of Oak was with obviously Asante Kotoko when we experienced the disaster. May 9th is it? At the Accra Sports Stadium, and we have sworn as football teams that this would never happen again. Thankfully, we've seen other sessions of Accra House of Oak and Asante Kotoko playing. And we pray that you continue in that good way. So, you are an avid sports journalist. And it's no surprise that we call you coach. Obviously, because you've trained yourself and you've attained that certificate to warrant that name. The other day, which name did I call you?
Shapiro.
Coach Shapiro.
In fact, I think Shapiro was in the news today.
He's in the newspaper today.
Yeah, Jay is upon one of the.
But some, I mean, in the spheres of the GPL and local football, you've seen the contributions of Accra House of Folk and how well they play, and I mean, everything going on around them. You can tell us much better, even though you don't want to talk.
Oh, I want to talk. And then, okay, so this is Shapiro. This is a picture of Shapiro there.
Where is he?
That is Shapiro.
Oh, that's Shapiro.
Coach Jay
I don't know where the name came from.
Anyway, congratulations to Accra Hearts of Folk. I mean, the oldest club in Ghana.
Oh.
Yes, the oldest club in Ghana. In fact, Kotoko is their younger brothers.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes, Kotoko is 1935.
Oh.
Yeah, so they are, I think, some 24 years older than Mother Santa Kotoko. But whether we like it or not, one of the biggest clubs since then until now we have in the country has contributed so much. I think if you look at the contributions of Accra Hearts of Folk to our football in Ghana, I do not know, but I don't see the rivals here, because they have given it all from the juvenile levels to the senior team. You know, at a point in time in our life, in the life of our football, we had to play a Black Stars match. I mean, a national game with Accra Hearts of Folk's entire team. Yes. And so that is the extent.
They formed the entire
exactly. That is the extent of the contributions they have made to our football, where we had to go and play against Nigeria, the Green Eagles, with, even though it was the Black Stars, but we were seeing a team of only Accra Hearts of Folk players.
Wow.
Yes. So I mean, and that is not just it. If you come to the juvenile levels, we have had players. I mean, the first captain that took us to the World Cup, that is Stephen Appiah, came from Accra Hearts of Folk. We have had the likes of Lai Kingston. I mean, we have had great players coming out of Accra Hearts of Folk and feeding our national teams at the under-17 level, at the under-20 level, at the under-23 level, and of course, at the senior national team level. When we have won the juvenile tournament, like the under-20 World Cup, when we have won the under-17 and played in the finals and the semi-finals in the, how do you call it, Ecuador 95, and all those, I mean, laurels we have had in football. Trust me, Accra Hearts of Folk has played a very, very great part in raising up players to contribute to that. When we were able to go to the World Cup for the first time in 2006, I mean, we had the Stephen Appiahs captaining the Black Stars and taking us to our first World Cup. We had the presence of Accra Hearts of Folk in there. I mean, we have always had Accra Hearts of Folk in our national teams, and so the contributions for this great club to our football is immense. They still contribute to that. Now, our national team is going to play against Ethiopia, and there is Accra Hearts of Folk there. Their goalkeeper is part of the national team as we speak. For the past, I think, 2 or so years, we have seen them going into the national assignments. The last time we played against South Africa. In fact, the reason why we want Ethiopia to lose and then Zimbabwe to also beat South Africa is the fact that we lost against South Africa in the first leg.
Exactly.
And we had an Accra Hearts of Folk player playing, in fact, their captain playing in that particular game for the Black Stars. So it is all over the place, and we congratulate them. They have also seen, I mean, their own shortfalls and all that, but that's part of life.
Exactly.
That's part of life. And so on the day of celebrating their 110th anniversary, we wish them all the best. In fact, we really expect more from them because they have done more for Mother Ghana, for our football. They have won the CAF Champions League, the Continental Championship before. They have actually won the CAF Confederations Cup, the second tier of that competition. They have won the Super Cup, the Ghana Premier League. They have won it several times, only behind Asante Kotoko. They have won the FA Cup several times.
Emphasis on that.
Of course, I have to put that there.
I know.
I mean, and they have won everything. They have won the Super Cup, and in fact, they have great history. They have great history. They have great history that the oak tree You know, they have some rituals that they added a lot of fun to football.
Exactly.
They have some rituals that they used to do. In fact, they still do it before they played games. They go to Newtown, where they go to mostly dress up. It's a ritual for them. They have, like, celebrating the 110th anniversary. They will go and visit their roots. That's how they call it. Right. We go back to our roots and go and visit the oak tree, and then do whatever they want to do. They will visit the mosque. They will go to church. I mean, House of Oak has given us very, very great memories. I remember the the Confederations Cup final in Ghana. I mean, the first time we had 2 clubs from Ghana playing in the final of a continental championship. That was in 2004 when Kumasi Asante Kotoko had come here, and then the return leg was in Kumasi. They came to beat Asante Kotoko in Kumasi to lift the the continental championship. I mean, in Kumasi, and you can just imagine. I mean, playing Kumasi Asante Kotoko in their yes, and then lifting such a trophy. I mean, it sent a whole lot of Accra Folk fans into some beautiful moods in the country. It's one of the beautiful histories in the club's history, and so everybody mentions it. The fact that you're able to do it, I mean, it doesn't happen that you get to play such a match with your biggest rival, and then you win at their home grounds. That is something big for them, and of course, it was big for our football. Now, if you look at the continental showpieces that we do play, we have representation. So every country, you are expected to get some numbers to play in the championship. Even though over the past few years, the league generally, our league's performance has been very, very low. So we don't have a lot of representation. But we had years where Accra Folk alone will go to Africa and then or play in those competitions and go and make Ghana proud, to the extent that it increases our slots. So because Accra Folk is doing well, you know, now instead of giving you just one slot, we are adding another slot to you so that another club can join. So all these contributions cannot be underplayed. I mean, they have given us beautiful moments where they go and beat. As for the records, the LLEs, I mean, the powerhouses in the African football. I mean, they have beaten them, ended their reign, broken their records. Esperance, it got to a time for some years nobody was beating Esperance. Accra Folk said, no, it is not us, we will beat you. Of course. Then they stopped them at some point. LLE, they stopped them at some point. And so they have a very rich history that we all have to support them to build on. At the end of the day, it's Ghana. As we speak, they are the only club in Ghana that is participating in the African Continental Championship. So even though they have, whether they lose or they go ahead, it still doesn't change the still doesn't change the. And this particular moment, we have also lost our slots again, remaining only one. If Accra Folk does well in the championships, then we are going to, I mean, yes, get another slot. So you see that at every point, they are somewhere there to try and help the country and bring our football back. They had not won the Ghana Premier League for about 12 years. For about 12 years. Last season, they did it, and they did it in style. They didn't just win the Ghana Premier League. They won the FA Cup. And I mean, they won everything there was to be won. Yes, and so they have a way of writing their own history, very in a very different style. That when they are about to do it, they don't just do it, but they have a way of doing it, and it makes them different from all the others. Whether we like it or not, they are the oldest club in Ghana, and they have lived up to it, even though they have had some stiff competition from other clubs, especially their biggest rival. Very keen competition from them, but we can't take it from Accra Folk. They have done so well, and I think we should encourage them. Now the club is owned by the Togbe Afede. Togbe Afede, and he is trying to bring the glory back to the club, the old days back to the club.
Well, so once again, we wish Accra House of Folk the very best. And let me say a big congratulations to that avid and stunt supporting team of Accra House of Folk, I'm not talking about those of us who sit in the studio and sing, no. I'm talking about those who go to the stadiums and paint their faces. Especially those who have been carrying their pots and all that. I mean, they add grace and color to the entire football game. Julia, you want to say something briefly to Accra House of Folk?
No, just the arose, which I'm told is not arose.
Yes.
Anastasia
Badu understands those lyrics better, but I feel better singing it as arose.
Some previous times back, some lyrics just appeared for that particular song.
From nowhere.
And people were, I mean, there were so many justifications for different lyrics.
Exactly.
Our roots. And people were like, well, whether it's our roots. Now we prefer the arose. It has come to stay. Exactly.
But we don't want to make sense of the lyrics. We like it the way it is. Be quiet and I don't want to continue.
Don't be silly.
You're watching AM Ghana here on Adoatv television. If I give Sam all the movements, he's going to take it and put it into sports. We are happy that Accra House of Folk is observing 110 years since its inception. And once again, we say kudos to you. Even more kudos to you for having stayed with us since the beginning of the show up until now. And guess what? We have some more conversations for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
Malaria nti abayiwa yedwuma bono. Malaria defo ya o. Enti awo ahire ne customers ni. Wahu ne se maami aye smart. Abe CB Malakio. Amma ne baya odi ko school. She se aduane si berry market chi ani malaria nti a ontimi ni.
And now Emma will be around to walk. So we have malaria test. Maybe one. And Trebetua and the CB Malakio. Yedinuna, Nehama, and Naki Kabum Asoneso, I CB Malakio. And no way so dear. And I don't grow. And yet tata shit.
A drawing your ma a painful. About a woman for any quada won't in fear.
Susiana, what would you with
FD Ashosha Sa a Jedi and Kratoimu Adia to Musa.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing decks at the work premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
CB makeups now. I'm not correct. What's your best mankasa?
That's it.
Who anyone? Oh, middle. You captures about one for CB makeups. Ah, you know, see, CB makeups and I make a year.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules now. You knew the dada. And 1 year packaging I am the
wow! What a packaging! CB men, any CB women capsules, no packaging is out. And you also no mood any biansan wako do pegi.
Share up him for any about town man kwada no for. Any kwada go di fie do and come home.
Susanna, Ghana man man tamase.
Dodo Afre 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aji edwedin kato yato.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
Malaria nti abayi wo yejuma bono. Malaria defo ya o. Enti awo ahire ne customers ni. Wahu ne se maami aye smart. Ape CB Malakio. Amma ne ba ya odi ko school. She se aduane si berry market chi ani malaria nti a onti mi.
Onia. And now Emma we biara to wo. So we malaria test. Maybe woman. And Trebetiwa and CB Malakio. Yedinuna, Hahama, and now kick bomb a son so I CB Malakio. And no way so dear. And I know grow. I yet tata shit.
A drawing your ma a pen for about a woman for any quada won't feed you.
Susanna, what would you with
FD Ashusha sa a jedi and crato you adia to Musa and
welcome back and thanks for staying. And this is AM Ghana here on Adoatv Television. We still bring you good things, nothing but good things in life. We have this segment, as we always do. We talk about your health because your health is very, very important to us. Once you have good health, we know that we can always come your way and then engage you as we've always been doing. And so today we are looking at sickling status, or your sickling technically, or in technical terms, sickling. If you hear sickling, you can also bring your mind around sickle cells, as we simply put it, because we mostly hear the sickle cells more than the sickling. So today, briefly, we are going to look at the sickle cells and knowing your sickle cell status. In technical terms, it will be knowing your sickling status. But so that we can all understand it, we are going to speak with Dr. Muftau, and he would help us know our sickling status and what we need to be doing when we find ourselves, or when we are told that this is our status, what we need not do when you also find yourself, or when you are told that this is your status as far as sickling or sickle cells is concerned. If you have ever thought of this particular thing we are going to discuss today, I believe you have heard about the types of sickle cells that there is, or sickling that there is, and which blood types can do or engage which blood types, blah 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 blah. So we are going to learn a lot here briefly on this particular segment. So hold on as we engage Dr. Mohammed Muftau. Dr. Mohammed Muftau is the medical herbalist and master. He also has a master of public health, and he is going to help us through this conversation. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing, please?
Good morning. And how are you too?
Doc, we are doing very, very well, and thank you for speaking to us. Doc, normally we hear about sickle cells, and then when you read, you also see sickling, or sickling status. Which one should we go with for education purposes?
Yes, you can use any one of them. Your sickling status or sickle cell disease, the medical terminology. You also have HB electrophoresis to be able to determine the kind of sickling status that one has. So basically, it's a terminology, and usually in medical terms, we like also using common terms that people can easily understand.
Okay.
That is also unambiguous. So based on the setting, the term that people really understand to refer to a particular disease, we go by it, and then at that level, we use it for understanding purposes as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. But Doc, how does it happen? Sickle cells or sickling status? How do I get there? I mean, my parents gave birth to me, and I am told at some point that I am sickle cell or sickling. I have a negative or positive sickling status. What happens for people to get to that get into that situation?
Yeah, so basically when we talk about sickle cell, we have what you call sickle cell disease.
Okay.
Then you can also check your sickling status, that you also realize that you have the sickle cell in your hemoglobin, but it is not a sickle cell disease. So now let's go back so that we give some brief definition of what sickle cell disease is, so that our viewers will really appreciate the whole concept.
Sure.
So when we talk about sickle cell, then what you are referring to is a genetic changes that happens to the source of the production of the hemoglobin.
Okay.
You know, in our blood, we have what you call red blood cells.
Yeah.
And within these red blood cells, we have hemoglobin.
Okay.
The main function of the red blood cell is to carry oxygen around, or to send across oxygen to the whole part of the body, so that the various cells in our body will get enough oxygen to be able to oxidize and get energy from it. So when these red blood cells are there, they have a component we call the hemoglobin.
Okay.
This hemoglobin is responsible for transporting the oxygen across our body. And this hemoglobin has a shape. The red blood cells are supposed to have some normal shape that we call a round shape.
Okay.
That is first. And then secondly, they also have a lifespan. That is the time that it will take for a red blood cell to die so that another one will also be produced. You know, that is how the system works. So the lifespan for a normal red blood cell is 120 days.
Okay.
So now, what happens with sickle cell is, now during the genetic formation, or during the formation of this hemoglobin within the red blood cells, the gene that is supposed to let you have a normal red blood cell sometimes gets mutated.
Okay.
So when that happens, the shape that you are supposed to get, it will not be that same shape.
Oh, okay.
The shape will be crooked. Sometimes it looks like a crescent, like when a new moon sets in, the way the
looks
shape
like,
of it
yeah.
is, it loses that its roundness, the round shape, that structure that it has. And when it happens like that, when it is the way it's supposed to move through the blood vessels, it is not able to move easily and properly. That is one. Then secondly, it also has a diminished lifespan between 10 to 20 days. So you are expecting the normal red blood cell to live up to 120
days.
But with this sickle cell, you realize that it is unable to live up to 120 days. It can only survive up to 10 to 20 days. So, and it dies. And when it dies too, it comes with all its consequences, then lack of proper enough oxygen in the blood, and all those associated symptoms that comes along with this disease. So basically, when you talk about the sickle cell, this is what we are referring to.
Oh, okay.
And then the sickle cell is not something that you contract it from someone. For instance, when someone has common cold, if he coughs, when he sneezes, you can easily get it. Or the way we get, like this, our common pandemic, COVID. It's not like that. It's a genetic disease. And anything that is genetic, meaning that it is something that is being transferred from one person to another. In this case, from your parents.
Okay.
Yes, from your parents.
Okay.
So, basically, I'm sure maybe if there's time, we can go into details as to how a child can get this disease from his parents.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. But so once this happens, then with diagnosis, you are able to know that this person suffers or this person has this sickling status. But so how do you get to the status? How do you tell people that? Is it by screening? Is it by some medical examination that helps to make you realize that this person has this status? And what are even the statuses as well?
Yeah, we have very simple tests that can be done to assess one's status. Sometimes you can even use the microscope. The biomedical scientists can easily use your blood under the microscope. They can be able to tell whether you have a sickle cell or not. That one, when they check it, they will tell you it's positive or negative, but they will not be able to tell you the specific genotype, the specific genes, because if they check the blood, they see the sickle cell inside. It can mean that you have the sickle cell disease, or you are just having the sickle cell trait.
Oh, okay.
So when I talk about the sickle cell disease, it means that, you know, during embryogenesis, or when human beings are being formed from their mother's womb, the father contributes some part of the chromosomes,
Okay.
the genes, and then also the mother
also contributes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get both from the mother and then the father. So any disease that is genetic predisposed that one party has is likely to also transfer that to the child based on the whether the child will inherit from the mother or the father. So in this case, if the mother has the sickle cell, and when we talk about the sickle cell, the mother having the sickle cell, the mother can either be having a trait. If you have a trait, meaning that you have inherited one normal gene, if the mother has inherited one normal gene from the mother or her father, and then she has also inherited one abnormal sickle cell from the mother or the father. So she has AS.
Okay.
And then also, if the father also happens to also be having the same AS, there's a likelihood that the child will also develop either AS or SS or AA. The AA means that the child is totally normal.
Okay.
And then the AS means the child will be having the trait of the disease, but he is not likely to suffer the symptoms and the complications.
Okay.
Even though some people do experience some of the symptoms. And then also we have one that we also have both that will inherit the S, which is the sickle from the mother, also inherit the S from the father too. So the child that will inherit the two from the mother and then the father will have the sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So it's just a combination that we'll be able to know. So when we check the microscope, first it will be able to tell whether there is sickle cell within the blood. Then if it tells you that, and you can go and do additional tests we call HB or hemoglobin electrophoresis.
Okay.
With this test, it is able to tell you whether you are AA, you are AS, or you are SS. And we also have another form of some of these blood disorders, the sickle cell disease, which we call the thalassemia. So that one is also there. So it can be checked, and then you realize that there is no sickle cell, but there is thalassemia also. There is also another form of sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So basically, this is how the diagnosis can easily be done.
You mentioned when you mentioned the AA, the AS, that is when the child inherits. I mean, both genes from mother and father. That is perhaps the reason why people are checked before they come together to produce children. That is why they are checked so that if your statuses of sickling is not helpful, then you don't have to go ahead and produce a child that would end up having a lot of problems.
Yes, I think it's very important, especially now before premarital counseling. Now most of the religious bodies are paying much attention to some of these things. So the man and then the woman are supposed to know their status, so that they will be prepared to know whether the child that they are going to bring up will be normal or will have a sickle cell trait or will have a sickle cell disease. So when all this information is available, now it will be left with the couples or the partners to decide whether they want to go ahead or not.
Okay.
And now, thankfully, there's also the technology to be able to tell when even the mother is pregnant.
Okay.
It can be checked once the baby is in the mother's womb.
Oh, okay. That's
It can be checked
interesting.
whether the child is carrying a particular genotype. So it can be checked whether the child is carrying AA or AS or SS.
Oh, okay.
For instance, if you happen to be a couple, the mother is AS and then the father is AS, the chance of producing a child with SS will be like 25%.
Oh, that is quite low.
Out of 4.
Okay. Okay.
That is 1 out of 4. But one thing we have to know is that we are talking about the chance.
Yeah.
It's like a probability.
Yeah.
The chance doesn't mean that if it is 1 out of 4, meaning that the mother can give birth to normal children 3 before she can get
another one that has that problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is about probability, it's about chances.
Yeah.
And nobody can determine.
Sure.
So when they know their status and then there is pregnancy, there's a way that the baby's status can be checked.
Okay.
And if the baby is SS, they will have an idea of the
baby that they are going to produce. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Doc. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's more of the couple's discretion.
Okay.
Whether they want to go ahead or not.
They want
It's a very difficult thing for us in the medical field or the counselors to really try to separate two people because of this.
Sure.
But through the right education, you can also make your decision and know what will be best for you.
All right. Okay. But Doc, so what are mostly some of the symptoms associated with this, so that even before people check their statuses, when they identify some of these symptoms, they are able to somehow tell that this is where perhaps we are heading towards?
Yeah. So I think before I mention the symptoms, the best thing to know your status, it is not through the symptoms. Because I'll be mentioning the symptoms, and then you realize that the symptoms resemble a lot of
other diseases.
So it's not very specific to this particular disease. But the best thing is you check your status.
Okay.
Now there are certain in Ghana you are supposed to be when you give birth, the child status can easily be checked. So now whenever you give birth, you can request from the health professionals, the nurses, that you want to know the status of your baby. They can easily take the sample and then they will give you a time that you can come for this result. It can easily be done. So back to the symptoms. The first symptom that one normally experiences with this condition is periodic joint pain. Yeah, periodic joint pains or bone pain, especially during the cold weather.
Yeah.
Or when you're also exposed to extreme weather conditions, whether heat or extreme cold, especially in our settings during the cold weather, people with sickle cell disease normally experience severe joint pains and then the bone pain. Then the second one is jaundice. Jaundice is the yellowish coloration of the sclera within the eye, the lips of the mouth, and then you see that when the person opens the eye, or when you look at the person's eye, you see that the eye is very yellowish.
Okay.
So this is also one of the symptoms that someone with sickle cell disease, you can easily be able to, your mind will go on that disease. Then the third one is abdominal pain.
Oh.
Yes, abdominal pain, especially around the left side, lower part of the chest. Yeah, that is where you have the spleen. So most of you can be having some pains there, and then these pains too are also very tender. When we say tender, means that when you try to touch it, the person experiences a lot of pains
Pain there.
and doesn't want you to touch. And then also in men, especially, there is something we call priapism. You'll be there and you see as a man, you have some erection. Your penis will erect.
Oh, really?
For a very long time with severe pain.
Wow.
Yes. Even though you see men, we want our erection to be sustained.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a painful one that the person doesn't have any arousal from anywhere. But it's because of the blood that is breaking down. It has formed a clot around the vessel. So it has trapped blood within the penis. So the blood is not able to go back. And there will be this kind of erection. And sometimes this thing can even result in a surgical procedure before the patient can even have some relief.
Okay.
Occasionally, there are issues of fever, feverishness, and then all those things. So basically, these are some of the common symptoms that you see. And then when the person also goes to the hospital, the health professional also do some kind of examination. In this examination, occasionally you realize that the spleen will be enlarged. The spleen also plays part in red blood cell production.
Okay.
So when there's this kind of disease, the spleen also suffers.
All
and
right.
This is some of the things that can easily happen. And
Okay.
the liver of the person can also get enlarged. And therefore, it's something that you have to pay attention to be able to prevent, and then also to make sure that the number of crises in a year minimizes.
All right.
That the quality of life of the patient will be improved.
It will be improved. Okay. But Doc, another thing. Is this curable? Can it be cured?
There's a way of treating it. As for the curing, there are procedures, but the procedures available depends on how severe the disease is to the patient, because the procedures available also have their own side effects. Some of it can be very fatal. Like, for instance, you can do a bone marrow transplant. You know, the red blood cells are produced by the bone marrow.
Yeah.
So, because of the genetic changes, the bone marrow is not able to produce the right genetic composition for the red blood cell. So, the red blood cell of the sickle cell patient, disease patient, can be changed with a normal bone marrow.
Okay.
So when this bone marrow transfer from a normal person to the one with the sickle cell is done successfully, then the person can enjoy life without any sickle cell disease.
Wow.
But it comes with a lot of complications, and therefore it's not something that the specialists really regularly go to do. So there's a lot of things that you take into consideration. And even getting the bone marrow to rematch yourself is also one other thing that is difficult thing. So that is why, if you notice, the WHO and then the various health authorities in Ghana, the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, they pay much attention to the education, to the need for you to know your status, because that is the best way. As for the transplant and other procedures, it's not really the best way because of this side effect. Other people through frequent blood transfusion, it can also help them to minimize the number of crises. For instance, because of blood, you have a problem with the red blood cells. So when there is kind of frequent blood transfusion, blood from a normal person to your body, you are likely not to suffer the consequences. But that one too also has its own side effect as well when you do it over time. So that is why we try to talk more on education.
On education.
Okay. To know their status and how to prevent themselves from crisis. So the number of crises will
reduce. Doc, before we let go of you, what are some of the treatments that is mostly required to take care of sickling status?
Yeah, so the treatment available is largely symptomatic.
Okay.
When I say symptomatic, meaning that when you are in crisis, the symptoms that you face, the bone pain, it will be managed with a painkiller. And then when you are in crisis, one of the problems is you become anemic. Your blood level will go down. As I mentioned to you, the normal red blood cells are supposed to live up to 120 days. In this case, it's unable to live up to that, 10 to 20 days. So there is recurrent or there is chronic anemia in the person. So when there is that level of anemia, blood transfusion will be done, certain other medications like folic acid, will be given the patient will be put on folic acid. So the folic acid will also help in the blood formation and others. And some of these things, sometimes it can be very, very critical that it will require hospitalization.
Yeah.
And when you are hospitalized, a lot of IV normal saline will be given so that you'll be rehydrating yourself. And then if there's a need for blood transfusion, and then all these other things will also be taken care of.
Okay.
So one of the things that I will have to advise, which we call the non-pharmacological advice, is certain advice that you give to people, not necessarily taking medicine.
Okay.
To always make sure that if you know that you have a sickle cell disease, please ensure that you don't get dehydrated.
Okay.
Always take plenty water. Ensure that you always hydrate yourself. You take enough water so that always your body will be there will be enough water
within your body.
system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Secondly, too, is to also ensure that we take a lot of balanced diet.
Okay.
Especially the green vegetables.
Okay.
So these green vegetables contain a lot of vitamins and minerals that also support blood formation.
All right.
So we need that. And then also need to prevent ourselves from getting infected with other disease. Because with this sickle cell disease, it exposes you to get a lot of infection.
Sure.
Yes. So you have to be more hygienic. You have to be cognizant with your environment. Keep your surroundings clean so that you don't get any other germs entering your system that can make you enter into.
That will make you vulnerable. Yeah.
Yes, vulnerable.
Okay.
And then also don't expose yourself to extreme weather conditions like use of air conditioning and then too much heat and all those things.
All right.
And then lastly, let's try to know our status so that things that we can control, we'll try to control it before
it gets out of hand.
On God.
Yeah. Thank you, Doc. Thank you very, very much for speaking to us. We are grateful for your time. You will definitely come back for more on this particular subject. Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you too. Right.
Well, we just spoke to Dr. Mohammed Muftau. He's a medical herbalist and, of course, a master of public health about sickling status. He has told us what to do and what not to do. We will bring you more on this in our subsequent episodes of AM Ghana. But now I'm going to have to leave the stage for the next segment with Reginald Adi. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
CBU makeup now. I'm correct. Why your best mankasa?
That's it.
Who and you are? Oh, middle. You captures about one of CB men capsules. Ah, you're right. Missy CB men capsules in America.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules now. You knew the dada. And 1 year packaging I had the pepper.
Wow! What a packaging! CB men, any CB women capsules, no packaging is out. And you also no mood any bianza no akodo ben pegi.
Share a painful any about town man kwada no for. Any kwada won di fie du ni. Enka ho.
Susanna. Ghana man be man tamase.
Dodo Afre 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aje edwedin kato yato.
Malaria nti abayi wa yejuma bono.
What you are doing here?
Malaria therefore ya o. Enti awo ahire ne customers ni. Wa hu ne se maami aye smart. Apa CB Malakio amma ne ba ya odi ko school. She se aduane si berry market chi ni malaria nti a ontimi ni.
Onia and now Emma when be around to walk. So we have malaria test. Maybe one. And better and the CB Malakio. Yedinuna, Nehama, and now Kikabom as soon as I CB Malakio. And no way so there. And I don't grow. I yet that shit.
A drawing near my appeal for about a woman for any quada one in fear.
Susanna, what would you with
FD Ashesha Sa a Jedi and Kratoimu Adia to Muse.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing decks at the work premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Certainly, this is the place to be. A big thank you to Sam Kusia Pia for that wonderful conversation. Well, we're still here on AM Ghana, and in case you just joined us, well, we're about to have a discussion into some of the headlines that made waves in the newspapers. And you take a look at the Daily Graphic, for instance, and it has it right here. Dealing with youth unemployment, we must work together. John Dramani Mahama says. Now, he speaks on several other aspects in the conference that he held yesterday, the public lecture that he held yesterday, to sum up his thank you tour across the country. He highlighted several key observations. He spoke about the elections again. He speaks about the economy. He speaks about unemployment, amongst other things. And he together, in sum, says a big thank you to all Ghanaians who came out massively. He says there are about 6.2 million Ghanaians that came out massively to vote for him. Well, and he hopes that with the right measures and what information or message, he would come out successful in 2024, if not the entire NDC. And so I have with me the communication team member for the New Patriotic Party, I want to call him Honorable Alexander Tete. I prophesy into your life this morning. Say amen.
Amen.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, Reginald. How are you too?
Well, certainly by the grace of God. And if I borrow the words of my very good dear Juliana Ijoma, says, I'm blessed and highly favored.
Sure, certainly.
Certainly. But yesterday you saw the former president in his lecture summing up his thank you tour in Accra. He raised a lot of concerns and all that. Many were expecting, to hear from him at 5:30, and certainly he came out to speak. What were your expectations before, and what is your assumption after the presentation?
Yeah, let me say a very good morning to our cherished viewers, and then use the opportunity to also greet the First Lady of our land, Her Excellency, Madam Rebecca Akufo-Addo, for doing a yeoman's job in this our country. That is the sort of thing that we need from First Ladies. I mean, yesterday he went to commission the cancer hostel at Kolebu. And that is, I think it's an excellent work. We should look at the edifice that was commissioned yesterday. He raised about 90% of the fund that was used in building. I think he will have to commend her for the yeoman's job that she is doing for this our country. And then coming back to your question, I will sum up the speech by the former president as empty rhetorics coming from a desperate leader or a desperate person who wants to become president again. That is how I sum up the whole statement that he made yesterday. It's an empty rhetoric from a desperate person who wants to become the president of this our nation again. I am saying it is empty because if you look at what he has said, if former President Mahama has never been president before, when whatever he said, I would have said, oh, I may take it with a pinch of salt. But having been a president before, having governed this nation before, and he's saying that nobody can criticize him if you have not been a president before. So thanks to Ghanaians who gave him the opportunity to become president of this our country once once in his lifetime. I think that when he mounts the podium to speak, we must hear that wisdom, we must hear that patriotism, we must hear that truthfulness, we must hear that honesty being displayed by him. But what he did yesterday was out of dishonesty. It was very empty. And I think that Ghanaians should treat it as one of his usual propaganda.
Are you saying this because it is coming from the leader of the opposition, the biggest opposition party to the NPP? Because to me, he mentioned some, concerns in there. For instance, let's begin from his opening where he speaks about the elections and speaks about the about 8 people who lost their lives during the elections, and says that this should not happen again. This is one of those lies. Or you want to see it as a lie just because it's coming from the mouth of an NPP stalwart, NDC stalwart.
Yeah, in the first place, you said, I don't know his locus that is speaking on.
No, but is
whether
the locus,
whether he is still the leader of the NPP, of the NDC, or he is the one in charge of the NPP.
Okay. Whichever
the constitution
he's a former.
So,
and as it stands now, there is no leader in that capacity. So since he was the last person to bear that title, it is not in any wrong direction because there is no new one yet. So Alex, let's address the matter.
So I'm
what
saying,
you're saying
I'm
is that
saying, what
it's
I'm
full
saying,
of rhetorics. And now, are we playing politics with this sincere truth that people lost their lives during the election?
No, but that one is not anything that anybody would dispute about it. That there were those things. I mean, serial callers have been saying those things. I mean,
serial callers have been saying what?
Those
things.
The
entire presentation.
No, serial callers have been alluding to the fact that there were deaths that were recorded during the last elections, which you don't blame any particular person for it, but it's as a result of certain occurrences, certain doings that emanated, that brought about those things. So for being a former president and also mounting a podium where we expect you to prefer solutions to problems that this country is engulfed with, right, to rehatch what serial callers have been saying again, I think it is empty from a former president. And that is where I'm basing my argument on.
Interesting how you want us to look at it. He speaks on certain challenges, and if you want to go through the entire document, then that is going to be a very, broad, topic to discuss. He speaks about the economy. Next, he speaks about the challenges that the youth are facing. So, as a result of the meager time that we have, because we're going to sum up with you at exactly 9:30, so that we can make way for those who did not view or couldn't witness that public lecture. He speaks about dealing with youth unemployment, which is the second topic in the entire presentation. We must work together. Now, he speaks about the unemployment challenge in the country. He says that we need to work as a nation and face youth unemployment head on. Former President, this is just Alex. Now, you agree that, unemployment is a current challenge that we are facing. And so if you jump on it and you tell us that the presentation is made up of entire rhetorics, now you tell me, to what extent are serial callers also speaking on this one that makes this presentation as rhetorical, as you put it?
You see, when we are talking about unemployment in this our country, there is no nation around the world where such a challenge is not in. And Ghana being being a country among the state of nations, certainly we are not exempted from that predicament. And for that matter, it is something that has been with us since the days of Adams, and it will continue to be with us. But you look at the approach to it is what is important. So if you are looking at the messenger who is trumpeting this thing as a big problem in our country today, that is why I'm saying that judging him from where he comes from as a former president, what has been his contribution? If he had never been a president before, I would have understood what he said, and I would have taken it in good faith. But having been a president before, and now leaving office, and now sounding as if that when you were in power, you did very excellently well in terms of unemployment situation in this country. It is what worries me, and it baffles
maybe
me.
you didn't watch the presentation very well. He sincerely did not touch on, because sincerely, the Mahatma administration is not the administration that can tout itself as having done so much when it comes to employment.
Sure.
But then it is the one of those strong points of the current administration. When you presented NAPCO to the people, when you presented one district, one factory to the people, when you presented planting for food and jobs to the people, kudos to that initiative and the agri minister. When you presented all of these initiatives to the people, they voted for you, they gave you the nod, you came to lead. However, it seems as though with the initial rocketing push that started the Akufo-Addo administration and the implementation of NAPCO and whatsoever, we are seeing a gradual, recession in all of these policies, and we are asking, what is going on? This is the same thing that he speaks about, that the same thing that catapulted you into power, now you are retrogressing on.
That is certainly that cannot be true, and that is why I'm saying that if
you say the person not true,
yes.
Well,
yes
let's go into the
certainly. Let me
unemployment statistics
before we even get there. I just want to us to look at John Mahama having been a vice president and being a president before he's speaking the way he's speaking. What has been his record in terms of employment in this state?
That's what we
before
are saying.
then.
That's what we
so
saying.
if he comes to say
the former president,
he dare not. So I don't see the reason why he should even be mentioning it in his lecture or whatever, whether his conference or what have you.
Perhaps
but that notwithstanding, we can still talk about whatever it is. What we are saying is that look, the unemployment situation as we are facing in today, it is not anything that is unique to Ghana. But we all are aware of the COVID situation that has erupted this country and among other countries, which has actually affected certain things. But the MPP government, over the period that it has been in power, has given Ghanaians that promise, has given Ghanaians that tendency to want to know that, indeed, when it comes to unemployment in this country, they have a better antidote to it than the former government, and it is glaring based on the policies that we came up with, which you have rightly mentioned, including the one district, one factory. If you look at the number of people who are engaged, are employed in one district, one factory, I have the statistics over here. Some of the factories which are working today and how they have been able to absorb people into their mainstream, it's mind-boggling. So if someone like former President Mahama comes to say that there is a problem, and he being a former president before, speaking the way he's speaking, I think that he's been dishonest and disingenuous to the good people of Ghana.
He says that there is no plan. That it's all clear that the government has no sustainable plan to address the unemployment that continue to plague the country. So sustainability. When somebody speaks about sustainable employment, what comes into your mind?
I mean, an employment that when you get into it, I mean, you can be working in over there for as long as you don't do anything that they will sack you or you. That is sustainable. Something that will sustain you till your lifetime. But I think that when he talks about it, what comes into mind is NAPCO.
That's what you
yes,
think. Okay,
yes,
so you are not thinking far away from
yeah.
here. He said that the Bosch NAPCO experiment has proved not to be the pathway and means to an end.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see, this is the former president that during his regime, before NAPCO came into existence, during his regime, these were graduates who were anytime they were on demonstration, they form an association, unemployment graduate association. He has no antidote to their problem. Until our government came into being in 2017, that somewhere in October 2018, that NAPCO came into being. And you see, it is laughable when he speaks as if there is no plan for NAPCO. NAPCO has a strategic plan. It is right from the onset. The people on NAPCO knew very well that their contract is for 3 years. They are aware, 36 months. They are very aware. If you look at their letters of engagement, what is stated over there is that they are supposed to work and gain experiences. Because look,
but there is a caveat that at the end of NAPCO, most of them would be absorbed into the government sector. There's also a caveat that indicated that based on their performances, I mean, in the same line, they were going to be absorbed. And also, the intention of NAPCO is also to equip them with all of those necessary skills so that they will come out as people who could stand on their own. And also to provide them with the requisite 3 years experience before they are employed in other sectors. But you look at the relevance when it comes to the implementation, because and as much as people chose, I mean, there were sects, strategic sects, let me put it that way, in NAPCO.
We call them models.
Models, thank you very much.
I must put on record that I'm a district coordinator for NAPCO. So you go on.
Okay, Alex, you said there is a plan for NAPCO.
Yeah.
Now, I've mentioned all of the aims, I mean, some of the aims and objectives of NAPCO and some of the benefits as well. Very soon, I believe by Monday, the 2 weeks mandatory leave would have elapsed. What happens next to the NAPCO employees? Tell us on record so that we are moving on, we can know how to adjust the matter.
You see, the plan of government, right from the onset of the program, was that at the end of the 36 months of their stay under the program, there is going to be an exit pathway for them. That exit pathway is made up of 3 things.
Okay.
One, either you be retained as a permanent worker in various institutions that you work with, or other institutions.
How many have been retained so far?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
Then 2, either you venture into to become an entrepreneur. So the scheme will help you in order, wherever that you find yourself, you have your proposal and what the scheme will help you in order to become an entrepreneur. Then the 3rd one if you want to continue your education, there are opportunities that avail themselves for you in order for you to continue to further your education and what have you. So right from the onset of the program, if somebody tells you that it is a program that was not thought through into it before coming into implementation, it is never true. So right on the engagement letter, these are things that have been stated over there, and they are well aware of it. Now, moving into the election, yes, there were certain promises that were given to them, that those of them who would like to be retained as permanent workers, the government will make an effort in order for them to be retained. Mind you, this program started with 100,000 graduates. As we are speaking now, we have just about 68,000 graduates which are on it. Meaning that a chunk majority of them who hitherto we started with have gotten themselves into employment opportunities. They have entered.
I can say the figures were 48, not 68,000. 48,000. Last time I checked, it was 48,000.
Those on the scheme now.
Yes,
those on the scheme now is 68,000
plus. It's 68 now. When did the 20,000 add up?
Right. It's 68. That is, to the best of my knowledge, that is what I know.
I see.
Even Dr. Anyas yesterday was speaking on one of your sister TV station, and he mentioned that figure to me.
Okay.
So that is what I have.
Let's leave it at 68. Right.
So they are well aware of their exit pathway, exit plans, and what have you. Yes, right before the election, promises were made that those who would like to be retained for permanency, they will be given the opportunity and what have you. And I think that moving forward, there are some of the state agencies that they have worked with who are retaining some of them as we are speaking now. I can.
You say you are a coordinator
for Adan East.
I am.
NAMCO.
Yes, yeah. Do you for those from Adan East now? How many of them have been retained so far?
I can say right from the onset of the program, I had a little about 130 something trainees under me. Today, as we are speaking, I have just 93 of them under. Meaning that what? All my trainees, yeah, they are still working.
They didn't proceed on the mandatory 2 weeks.
I mean, as we are speaking now. They are not. Okay. All the trainees under the Feed Ghana, only 2 of them, I started with 10. Only 2 of them are now left. The rest of the 8 of them, all of them have been absorbed into the Ministry of Food and Agriculture.
I see.
Hill Ghana, I have only 1 left. And her problem is that she doesn't have a pin. I think she might have failed some of this thing, and that is why she's there. But the 7 that I started with, 6 of them, they are been absorbed into the Ghana Health Service. I have people under Educate Ghana who have been absorbed into the Ghana Education Service and what have you. So it means that what it is not a one-time or on the program. There is a leeway that along the line, if you add up to your CV and you become employable to any institution, you have the right to leave. So over the period, a lot of NABCO beneficiaries were living into the public sector and the private sector where they find suitable for them. And it is on record, right? Right from the 100,000, we are now about 68,000. And the assurance that is being given to them that some of the state agencies who have employed them or that they have worked with have started recruiting some of them. And I can just...
So the point is, by the end of the 2 weeks mandatory leave, how many of them are we going to absorb as a nation? That is a question. That is a concern.
For now, certainly I don't have the figures to say as to number of them.
Because in a research, a survey that was conducted, many of those NABCO recruits who were respondents to the survey indicated that they would want to be absorbed into the government sector. So I am wondering, the numbers that will be absorbed and the numbers that may be disappointed and left to their own fate.
Well, but if they are disappointed, yes, I rightly so. I may side with them. I may empathize with them because it is not everybody that can be absorbed within the mainstream system. As I have a communique over here, that there is going to be a process of a recruitment right from now to March, the end of March. So even as they are sitting, So these government institutions, where NAPCO personnel have given them assurance that they are going to retain most of their, and they include Lands Commission. NAPCO personnel who were trained over there, who were given opportunities to work, they are going to be retained over there. Okay. FDA, Food and Drug Authority, they are going to maintain most of the NAPCO personnel over there. Forestry Commission, they are going to maintain. Ghana Standard Authority, they are going to maintain. And these are people that have worked at NAPCO and they are being retained into the mainstream team. So it's likely that it is not everybody, but largely by the close of March, largely a great chunk of them will be maintained at their various institutions that they have served with.
Now, this is coming on the sidelines of the finance minister's, pronouncement that the government payroll is full. So I am wondering, and the public is also wondering, especially those NAPCO beneficiaries, they are wondering and they are scared. They are living in fear, as this was said before they were asked to proceed on that mandatory leave. What is the consideration for those who would be absorbed? What's the correlation here? Government payroll is full. We are going to absorb you. What's the correlation here?
That is what the government is saying. The government have found an ingenious way of coming up with this program, and definitely the ingenious way it came out with the program, you have the ingenious way of absorbing them. One, mind you that, look, before they even said that the government payroll is what have you and is getting full and what have you.
It says full.
Look at the clearance that has been given to the security services to engage, to recruit people into their ministry. Is that a government that is going to pay them? But yesterday they are being engaged, they will be engaged and they will be employed and they will be paid. So if you are saying that
deceived,
it isn't deceived, but that is a reality on the ground. It is a rare thing on the ground, because when you look at the public sector wage in the population, the number of people who are working on the government is just around 600,000 plus, and that is what takes most of the revenues that we earn over there. So if he comes to say, oh, he is not lying at all, it is a mere fact. But that notwithstanding does not mean that we are not going to employ in the, because mind you, this government has not gone to any IMF to put any freeze on employment.
Right.
Unlike at their time, that all these security services which are recruiting have started recruiting since 2017. In their time, continuously for 3 years, there was no recruitment in the security services. Police never recruited, prison never recruited, immigration never recruited, fire service never recruited under their regime. So that is what worries me. When someone comes from the NDC and he speaks as if at their time they were so much efficient in delivering to the people, it baffles me.
Well, Alex, let's sum up with that. I indicated that we don't have much time at our disposal. Now, the president is he was also on a thank you tour before he left for Scotland, Glasgow. How far with his thank you tour? Has it come to an end? When is it coming to an end? Well, what are the expectations? What is he yielding?
The president, he's not on a thank you tour. He goes to visit the regions.
Oh, his is not a thank you
tour.
tour.
No, it's not a thank you tour. Okay. He visits the regions and then try to commission and then inaugurate projects in our communities and what have you. So it's been going on very well, and I think that you see the way people do hail and participate in wherever that he's been to. So far, it's been very, very, very good, and I think that when he returns to the country, he will continue as usual. He will continue to commission projects. He will continue to launch projects. He will continue to, engage the good people, try to listen to them as to what is their peculiar needs are in order to be able to solve them for us. So for me, it's been very good, and I think that when he returns to the country, he's going to continue, and we are going to see the good effect that it will have on our populace.
All right, Alex. Now, before we go, one thing that former President John Dramani Mahama mentioned in the lecture was that we should brace ourselves for the remaining 3 years under the NPP administration. He cites, situations like the taxation matters. He cites situations like, fuel price increments. And you and I know that when fuel prices are increased, it trickles down even to the last commodity that is on sale. And so we are seeing the effects. There are about 16 drivers' unions who are threatening to go on a strike because of fuel price increments, and we don't know how many times we're going to see more of that. What do you think the next 3 years of the NPP, I mean the remaining 3 years of the NPP, would be like for all Ghanaians? How should we brace ourselves?
Oh, very well. I think that the next 3 years is going to be very, very good for Ghanaians. We should brace ourselves that we are going to see more development coming into our country. We should brace ourselves. We are going to see more commitment into infrastructure programs and what have you, irrespective of whatever the doom picture that the former president may be painting about this our country. I think that over the period that MPP has taken over, we are barely 5 years into government. They've been in power for 8 years continuously. He being the vice president and then the
falling into presidency.
Yes. And if you look at the performance in every sector of the economy, it is so clear, it is so glaring that this Akufo-Addo government has been able to manage the affair of this country very, very well. And for that matter, moving into the next 3 years, Ghanaians should know that the Akufo-Addo government that brought them free electricity, free water under the COVID situation is somebody
about this thing, Alex? I beg you,
we are paying for them.
We are paying for them now.
Who
Alex, you can tell us other things, but we are paying for the electricity.
Yeah, we are paying for the. That is why I say under COVID. That's what I say under COVID.
You said under this Akufo-Addo government, but it's
fine.
Still
under COVID. Yes.
All right, Ogbojibo. Thank you very much, Alex. It's always a pleasure having you. Alex speaks for the New Patriotic Party, and it's unfortunate that we have to make leave of him at this point. So let's take the opportunity to recap the public lecture that was held by former President John Dramani Mahama in summing up his thank you tour. Kudos to Adoatv, where we pick the feed from. Let's take a look. My name is Reginald Addy, and I have served you with Sam Kusiapia and Juliana Ejoma. We'll see you tomorrow with some further discussions and a brand new day. Until then, have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of our program. Stay Ocean. Your time would also come your way at 10:30. This and more will serve you today at Adoatv. Do stay tuned. Have a lovely day.